Alright, hello everybody. Hello YouTube. If this intro seems a bit dry, it's because I just realized that I've been recording for like 14 minutes, talking and yapping, and my mic was turned off. But now it's turned on, which is good. Anyways, I was talking about gacha gaming, but mainly about 76 Grand Cross as a returning player. So I don't want to repeat what I just said, so I'm just going to react and talk alongside this video from Amazing, a Grand Cross player. He's an OG. Go follow him for and subscribe to him for um, Grand Cross and Origin tips and advices on any kind of like current event that's going on in Grand Cross or and Origins.
What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, we're actually going to be doing a little bit more of a different video than I normally would do on the channel.
Oh, FYI, this video was recorded. His video was recorded in 2024. So the drama that he's talking about, and the things that the critiques about Grand Cross that he's gonna say, are pretty much kind of like outdated, because it's been 2 years since then. We're 2026 now, but I do think they're still relevant, and I should be able to show you guys later, or just go over to like add up onto like more updated things. All right.
In today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about the state of Grand Cross and how I feel we can actually make the game better with constructive criticism that, is a little bit, kind of felt on the side of like, kind of being a little bit bad. But it's things that does need to change for the game for the better, and hopefully the devs do, hear some of this stuff. And if you guys have anything else to like mention as well with anything that I talk about in this video, feel free to comment that down below. I'm also like, looking to hear what you guys have to say about this. Maybe you'll relate with me, maybe you'll have a different take on some of the things that I say. But this is more of just a discussion. I want to kind of get a, a dialogue here with you guys. So yeah, let's hop in and kind of discuss what we're going to be talking about here. So what we do have here, guys, and I'll pull this up on my main monitor here. Let me zoom in display. But we do have addressing the drama. This is my Google document that I made here, and
Google Docky.
and pretty much it compiles all the things that I feel like, at least that I was able to compile with my chat, because I did this on my live stream. But pretty much what it is that addressing the drama. State of the game. We gotta talk about it. Right, I have a bunch of points here, guys, that I've written down. I also do have Sora's, document here as well, because he also did one of these types of videos, and there's a few things in what Sora said as well that I do want to kind of, talk about as well. But yeah, let's talk about it, man, and talk about the things that I feel like need to be addressed. Alright, guys, so starting off with the first thing here that we have on the list, it's a mobile game, not a full-time job. Now, this is a very important thing, because in Grand Cross right now, we have a lot of things that are actually like, pretty crazy to think that you would.
So for starters, if you play Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross right now, you open the app on your phone or on the PC, and you've passed some story levels, you will be unlocking the battle tab. Once you open the battle tab, you're gonna be met with a lot of these random stuff, and you're thinking to yourself, what are these things? Well, the special dungeon is where you essentially farm your enhancing materials for your characters. Now, right now, you have like you have the basic enhancing, for the exp potions. You can, like, that's understandable, with farming and everything. Then you have the evolution materials that you need to farm for. These evolution materials are essentially like books, kind of like and they're books based on attributes, because in characters you have, no, in the game you have three types of attributes. You have the speed, which is blue, the attack, which is red, and the HP, which is green. These are all three different attributes. And now you also have like some characters that are dark and light attributes, and they require you cannot farm for those enhancing materials. You actually have to farm the basic green, blue, and red attributes and then exchange them with king for exchange them, and it would be, and instead of, instead of the devs making things easier by essentially making it so that you have to, all right, so it's a one for one, right? One, I exchange one, and I get one in return. Yeah, no, the devs don't like it when things are simple for the player. So instead, you have to essentially exchange three variants for one variant. In other words, three HP or uh, attack or speed or one of each, because again, you just need three of any of those three to get one light or dark book. Now, at the moment, that's alright, the fact that they require 3 for 1, because there aren't that many light or dark attribute characters, and you can easily just farm for these materials, right? Like, so, because there's no real like gap. There's nothing that stops you from farming other than your stamina. And you can easily get stamina pots in the shop. Like, this would be the shop. You would be clicking here, and you will be having some sort of option to buy, and you would have two places where you could buy pots, the stamina pots. One of them would be at the very bottom on the friendship coins. How do you get friendship coins? Well, for starters, you have to make friends in the game. Now, now, here's the thing. For all of you introvert players, because here's the thing: if you're a gacha gamer, a gacha player, you're most likely a gamer. And if you're a gamer, you're most likely someone who spends their time on the internet. And if you're someone who spends their time on the internet, most likely you don't have a life in real life. And what that means is that you don't have friends. And if you do have friends, they probably are not interested in playing gacha games. That like, they're not interested. And so, you're lonely. You're alone. The good thing is that you don't really need to. And if you're anxious or kind of like, oh god, do I need to say hi? Do I need to like start a conversation? No, there's nothing of the sort. Making friends in Grand Cross is super easy. Just really go to the main place you can find friends is literally just go to PvP, and you would be like in some sort of like hub, and in that hub you can easily just click on top of each character, each player, and it will allow you to literally click on the option send friend request. Just click on the send friend request, then you click on the OK, and that's it. And you just have to do that multiple times and hope that you get accepted. Most players will accept it, and if they don't accept it, don't worry. Don't worry. If they don't accept it, it's not because they don't like you. It's because these people have essentially reached their friend cap. Because yes, you do have a friend cap. You have a limited amount of friends you can have. So unfortunately, you're not able to get as many friends as possible to get friendship coins. So if you get rejected or your friend request does not get accepted, it's not because people don't really like you, but rather because they just they've reached their own friendship cap, and so they can't really accept you. They will perhaps love to, but they just can't. So it's just gonna sit there, and they just are just gonna be forced to decline or do something about it. But just do that enough times that you'll eventually max out your friendship coins, your friendship limit, or you reach to the limit of friendships. Once you do that, just literally go. You would be going to the menu. There will be a tab that says friendship. You go to the friendship, and then you put send all. And what you're doing is you're sending friendship coins to them. Now, to them, it will appear as if they're just sending, as if they're receiving 20 friendship coins. But to you, based on your amount of friends that you have in total, you'll be getting lots of friendship coins. Now, what are these good friendship coins good for? They're good for two things. In the friendship section of the coin shop, there are two items that are really, really good for beginner player and just essentially any type of player, really. Those two items are the special dungeon keys and stamina pots for 2,000 friendship coins. And so, that's something, and you can essentially get them once a day at the very least. And so they're good, right? You can also get PvP tickets, but they're not really worth it, like and again, like PvP is good in the sense for like getting more weekly diamonds, because the higher your rank, the more weekly diamonds you can receive. But here's the thing: the game, the whole game is based on two things: PvP and anything that makes your character stronger for PvP. And if you're a beginner player, most likely you're gonna be facing people who have higher level characters than you. So I wouldn't recommend starting straight away. I would recommend, I mean, if you want to challenge yourself, go ahead, try the PvP. But if you lose, then you know why. It's because your characters aren't strong enough, your box C is not high enough, and because you're still your characters aren't that strong. Essentially, that's really it. So you don't really want to get the tickets for the PvP. They're not that great, at least at the moment. But but here's the thing: at this section where you get the special dungeon, this one is good for everything, because here's where you farm everything, and also you have like weekly little events that you can just go through. Like it's kind of like a mini story, like a side story, and they usually just recycle the story. So after you play these weekly events, uh, after a few set amount of times, you already know the whole side story, so you don't really have to bother reading them. You can just skip them and just go do complete the missions and get your like 4 gems at the very least. Which is it's not much. It's not enough for a multi, and it's not enough for a to get something at the moment, but it's something. And then so essentially you will be going to special dungeon. Now here's the thing: before, given the many characters that are available, before you would be going to the special dungeon and you would see 3 sections to get materials to enhance the 3 types of characters, blue, red, and green. But thankfully, now they've made a quality of life improvement that essentially allows you, where they've combined these 3 things, and now you essentially have to farm essentially one level, or yeah, one level, and you get the three material units for the 3 types of characters in that same level. So it's good for you stamina wise, it's good for you in general. It's just good in general. Huge quality of life improvement. And you also have, that's also where you can farm gold. And gold is very useful because gold is everything in this game. To enhance, you need gold. To level up characters, you need gold. To get equipment and level up the equipment, you need gold. To awaken your characters, you need gold. To super awaken your characters, you need gold as well. And so, super awakening, that's also another thing. Now, for awakening materials, before, what you needed to do was farm certain levels to obtain certain items to awaken every single character. And you needed to do this. Uh, each character would have like a 6 or 5. Was it 5 or 6? I don't know. But it would be like 5 or 6 awakening levels, and you would need to farm these things. And but eventually they've added the huge quality of life improvement of being able to get a star, a full awakening star. How do you get the full awakening star? Well, you get them in certain events, or you just farm. You go here in the boss battle section, where when you do the boss battle section, you not only do you also farm for these special materials, but also you get to increase the deathmatch demons. With the deathmatch demons, you can defeat them simultaneously based on how many of them there are, and in these deathmatch demons, you would be defeating them and going from the red demon, the gray demon, the Howlix demon. These 3 are the basic ones. You can indefinitely farm them, and you would do that so that you can get materials, so that you can like break limit, because at first your main limit for a character is level 50. Once you reach level 50, you break the limit, and once you break the limit, you essentially are met with, once you break the limit. Oh my god, I sorry for not really paying attention or not really speaking properly. That's because I am, as of making this recording, I am also playing the game on my phone, farming for basic items, really basic items, and I just ran out of stamina and I needed to buy some things with in-game currency, obviously. I'll obviously cut this empty silences from the video. And anyways, and once you farm these, once you get to level 50, you have to break the character to get to level 60, which would make it your level. Once you reach your level, you essentially would be your new cap would be level 60, and from then you will be going from 6 to 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, and then 95 to 100. All of these from level 60 all the way to level 80, you will need the demon materials from the red demon, gray demon, and the Howlex demon. And you would get these demons by playing the boss battles and activating the deathmatch after a set amount of times. And so you're essentially doing a two birds with one stone, because you get to farm these demons, but you also, as you're farming these demons by defeating the boss battle stages, you're getting materials that you can then go to King and exchange them for the full awakening star. And what this full awakening star allows you, it allows you to just fully awaken the whole thing without having to tediously go and farm these other things that are just gonna take away a bunch of time. So it's a huge quality of life improvement. You can easily farm these awakening stars. But after that, you are met with another awakening tier, which is super awakening. How do you super awakening? You need super awakening coins. Now you can also awaken with your basic silver coins, gold coins, and platinum coins, or SSR coins. But these coins are essentially dupes. Now, granted, for the silver coins, you're most likely already maxed out every single silver character, and so you would be thinking, oh wow, I can just just putting a lot of things and just to super awakening my characters, right? But no, for two reasons. One, the silver coin doesn't really add up much value for the super awakening, because you would be needing like a lot of things. And if you're going to be spending like 20 to 30 silver coins or even more just to super awaken one level, because again, you have super awakening, but you have to repeat the super awakening process about 6 times for each character, and you're just going to be spending a lot of these resources. And these silver coins, it's just not worth it putting them in the for the awakening thing. Or let me just say it, silver, gold, and the SSR coins, totally not worth into putting for super awakening. They're much better used in the shop. And again, I don't know if I said this before, but in the shop, silver coins are good for getting the stamina pots. Yeah, and they only cost 1 silver coin, which is really good. And because you're gonna be pulling, if you keep summoning, you're gonna have a lots of amount of stamina pots, and so you will be essentially be able to just farm and get these. Well, not farm, but you're gonna be able to get these stamina pots. Like again, like instead of spending 30 silver coins, just get 30 stamina pots, and with 8 stamina pots, you can essentially get to like go beyond your stamina limit, and the maximum you can get is about 900 stamina stuff. And now, sure, the stamina, depending on the stages on what you're farming, the stamina can easily get consumed fast. But on the game, there are certain days or certain weeks or months where you have stamina reduction on certain levels, and that's good for farming. Sometimes it's stamina reduction for these special dungeon. Sometimes it's for the boss battle. Sometimes it's for these the creature nest or demon king. Well, these two, well, they don't really matter, because these two are like super late game. You don't really want to look at them if you're a beginner. Or if you're a beginner, or you're returning or veteran like me, but you don't have key characters, because again, for the creature's nest, demonic beast battles, and for the demon king, you need certain characters and stronger characters. You need stronger characters. Usually, they're gonna be the latest characters that get released, but you also need key characters for the demonic beast, because these key characters are just gonna make the whole experience of defeating the levels easier and smooth. And so yeah, so this is late game content. The final boss, believe it or not, I would say you do want to focus on it, at least for the cosmetics for certain characters, because it's just free cosmetics essentially. And even if your rank isn't as high, because you've essentially farmed these stages, these final boss battles, you can get these free cosmetics and all of the other items that are offered in exchange, which is good. Sometimes you get really good stuff like SSR pendants or 5 tier gems for enhancing SSR gear, SSR equipment, which make your character stronger. And so, yeah, and again, at this point, you're probably thinking, "Oh my God, you just jabbed a whole lot about this game." Yeah, and this is not even covering everything. I haven't gone through every single thing. And I haven't even finished this reaction video. And so, essentially, this is just as he said as his number one complaint. It's a mobile game, not a full-time job. Yeah. What I just said, what I just described about this game, it sounds like it's literally a job. You're spending most of your day grinding. And it doesn't make it feel any good when all of this grinding, again, if you pay with your real money, with your wallet, you can just skip the grinding or reduce the grinding to just a few attempts, which, in my opinion, is a really, really lame way of doing things. And it goes with the standard that many AAA companies in the Western Hemisphere have been doing. Make the gameplay make the gameplay experience so bad so that people feel compelled to spend their money. But in my opinion, I just think that just reduces the amount of whales in the game to zero, or like you just lose whales, because again, you have two types of whales. You have no life loser whales, and you have wholesome passionate whales. No, wholesome whales. The no life loser whales, they're the whales who essentially they don't have anything else to do in life, and they are super rich, or they just don't mind wasting their money on the game to just, flex their money, and that's about it. And then the wholesome whales are the ones who love the game, love the story, love the characters, and the reason they really spent their money is just to support the game and to maybe get certain things that are locked behind paywalls, like costumes. Like, for example, right now, the ReZero collab that Grand Cross is having, you have costumes for the collab characters that are locked behind a paywall. And so, well, I mean, cosmetics are cosmetics, They're totally, it's totally valid, to spend money for cosmetics, because again, it's just nice to have them. But unlike other gacha games or other games, like for example in Fortnite, cosmetics don't really mean shit. They don't necessarily make your character stronger, and so essentially the reason you're getting cosmetics is just for the love of the game. Just for the love of the game, just because you want to have them. That's why you're really spending money to get the cosmetic of these certain characters in Fortnite. But in 7 Deadly Grand Cross, the cosmetics, unfortunately, do boost your stats. And these stats, they may be small, but super late in the PvP, but also for Boxy in general, they are good to have because they just provide such massive increases in the stats, and more stats equals more CC, more box CC, more basic stats as well. And so it's like you're kind of compelled to have these cosmetics rather than just getting them just because they look pretty on your characters. That's it's just something bad. But again, it's a mobile game, not a full time job, and I agree with Amazing here. The game should be a mobile game. It should be something that you just do once or twice, and a few things should be easy, nothing too stressful, and then you're done. Like, because here's the thing, some gacha games, really, with some gacha games, you have two. When you're like end game, like you finish the whole story, you finish the basic stuff, and now you're end game. You're What else are you gonna do? You can farm, but farming is tedious. So sometimes you don't even want to. Sometimes you don't even want to farm. You know. So what are you gonna do then? Well, you have to do choices, or well, one that essentially you have to do because if you're like a free to play player or you just don't really feel like wasting a lot of money, you want to do the dailies. Why do dailies? Because doing dailies slightly give you free premium currency that you can save up for a multi. And then you have events. Usually you have weekly events, or monthly events, and these events are great so that you can essentially get materials that would otherwise require you to constantly and endlessly farm, and you don't want that. So you're saving yourself time, and also to get some certain items that again would require lots of farming, and so that would be it. You would just be doing, and again, the dailies and doing the event stuff in a gacha game, in any normal gacha game, traditional type of gacha game, will literally just take you about 1 to 2 hours. No, not even, just within 1 hour, you should be able to do all of those things. Simple, especially when you have the quality of life improvements of literally either having some sort of skip tickets, some sort of auto mode, or having the ability to just spend like kind of like how Punishing Grey Raven does. Like, Punishing Grey Raven doesn't have an auto mode. Last time I checked, but that was like again what, like 4 years ago. So, but at the time they did have the quality of life improvement, where say you needed to farm the materials for enhancing stuff. Well, the farming could easily just be spent in one single move by just going to the farming thing, and instead of checking attempt or start, you go here, and it will tell you how many times do you want to do this. Do you want to do this stage, this level, so that you can farm, and it will tell you 1, 2, 3, and at 1, or you increase the number, and it would literally only get you to increase all the way to the to your current limit, and the current limit would be based on your stamina, and your stamina would be something that in Punishing Grey Raven would cost you getting like stamina pots, and in Punishing Grey Raven they really give them out very easily. It's like no joke. You can literally get like infinite amounts, and so you will literally be getting there. Like, and so essentially, you will be getting to the maxed points, to the max thing, and rather than say playing through the stage 30 times to farm, you literally click on the thing, set up the thing, and you go to the maxed, and it would say 30, and then it will cost you to defeat the level. It will cost, instead of costing you the basic amount that would be like say 4 stamina or 10 stamina or 20 stamina, it will cost you like around 20 times 30. That would be what, 600? Yeah, 600. It will cost you exactly 600 stamina pots or 600 stamina points, which is exactly what you have. And so by clicking on that, you, instead of defeating going to the level 30 times, and given that you don't have auto mode, it would be like you have to play it yourself, and it would get boring, tedious, and everything. So instead, what you do is essentially either defeat the stage, and you get the rewards for as if you did it. You defeat the stage one time, and you get all of the rewards as if you played 30 times, when in reality you only played one time, but you spent the stamina equivalents. That's a huge quality of life improvement that I think 786 Grand Cross should have for lots of basic starting stages. And honestly, I feel like having quality of life improvements just make the gameplay experience for gamers smooth, and also for whales, it makes them feel happy because again, they can they can think for themselves and literally feel like, oh wow, it's very smooth, very smooth. It's I don't have to spend my time, I don't have to waste my time, because if you're a whale, instead of what's the thing you want to spend instead of like if you're a whale, you're spending money, and to you that means if I'm spending money, I should not need to spend my time, you know, because that's the mindset, right? Because if you're not a whale, if you're like a dolphin, like a light spender, or you're a free to play player, instead of spending, if you don't want to spend money, you're gonna have to spend your time. That's how it is, right? But even then, that's only valid in the beginning. And 76 Grand Cross is going to reach 7 years of life. And with 7 years of life, there is just so much to do. And with so much to do, I just don't think it's worth it to just feel like you need to spend an entire day playing the game. Like, it just doesn't feel worth it. Spending an entire day when you could just be playing other games that are much more interesting, and that's it. And again, whales, like, that's the thing, if you're a whale, you also should care. Like, the passionate whales do care about the game being alive. The no life loser whales, they don't care really. Like, again, their main drive is seeing their account maxed out and essentially being able to eviscerate players on PvP, if there is a PvP, or just flex in social media. Oh look, I paid money for my account to look like this. Try challenge me, or try and defeat this enemy in one turn. You can't, because you're not a whale. These are the no life whales, and they don't have a lot of life. That they would really be upset if the game ended. They would gladly just move on and spend on that new game. But the passionate whales, they do care about the game. They do care about about how other players feel like. And yeah. And also they care about how the game feels like for them as well. Man, I jabbed a whole lot. But yeah, it's a mobile game. It shouldn't be a full-time job.
It's a mobile game, not a full-time job. Now, this is a very important thing because in Grand Cross right now, we have a lot of things that are actually like, pretty crazy to think that you would have on a mobile game that's kind of incentivizing you to, not being like, playing the entire day. But Grand Cross does the opposite. On Grand Cross, guys, you have content in the game that is,
And yeah, traditional gacha games, you couldn't even, like, here's the thing. The Genshin Impact broke the gacha game industry in many aspects, but in the gameplay aspect specifically. Because here's the thing. The idea of having an open world, being able to explore, that is something that will take you lots of time. And people gladly love exploring the open world and finding little things and collectibles on the open world. And that is hours and hours of gameplay. That is something that a traditional gacha game could never dream of achieving that. Because to them, what that meant was simple. It meant that you would most likely farm and grind so hard that you get to like super late end game and there's really nothing else for you to do. And they don't want that, because if there's nothing else for you to do, eventually you leave the game. And if you leave the game, that means they lost a potential spender, and they don't want that. And so that's why instead what they wanted was for the stamina to be behind premium currency. So, and if you have the premium currency, like again, most games have the premium currency that is used for summoning to also be used on something else as well. Because they know that if you only save them just for summoning, eventually you get every single character or max out every single character, and that's just something that for some reason developers hate. Developers hate gamers having a smooth time with summoning. They hate that. And so that's why in other gacha games, the premium currency sometimes is used. Like if you don't have stamina pots, okay, just spend 20 premium currency or 5 premium currency. And by doing so, you would recharge your stamina all the way up and could continue to grind and farm. But if you're like a free to play player or you're a dolphin, you don't want that because you want to save the premium currency for summoning. And so, and obviously, that would basically make it so that you just do your dailies, do the event stuff, exchange for premium currency for free, and then literally just log out because you're not gonna spend the premium currency to recharge your stamina. You're not gonna do that, and so that way the mobile game would just literally be just 30 minutes of your day, and then now you have an entire day free to do whatever you want. And so that's why to kind of like deter getting too many characters, they made it so that now premium currency can be used on summoning for equipment or special weapons for characters, specific characters to use. That way, it's kind of like it makes you, it entices you to spend money, because that's the thing, gacha games are essentially free games that need to be funded by players. And how do they get funded by players? Well, they do two things. One is make you fall in love with the characters that you just want to spend money on the game for cosmetics and everything, or make your life so miserable that you feel like you need to pay money so that your life is no longer miserable. And that's the thing. And Seven Alice's Grand Cross is a game that has changed. Before it used to be a game that would make you that would make you fall in love with the characters, make you fall in love. Well, I mean, you were already in love with the characters because it's an existing IP. If you're playing Seven Alice's Grand Cross, it's because you like Seven Alice's, the series, the manga, the anime. It's because you like the characters, and so you don't need to fall in love with the characters. You already are in love with the characters, and so it's before. What they would want it instead is for you to just keep playing until eventually you feel kind enough and benevolent enough that you spend money on the game. But now, after so many updates and so much thing going on, so much updates, they've made it so that now it is so miserable to play the game that you feel compelled to pay. It has changed. And now, sure, probably Genshin Impact and all these other gacha games also do the same. The difference is that they still do have lots of things to do for free, and the grinding is probably not as bad. And again, like for example, with Genshin Impact, games like Genshin Impact and all this other stuff, the main focus and the main selling point is not grinding. Because if you just want to grind, you can easily do that with a traditional gacha game. So what's the point of Genshin Impact and the current batch of open world gacha games? The main selling point is the story, the exploration, which eventually will make you feel like men. Like for example, with let's say Genshin Impact. You look at Genshin Impact characters. You've watched the stories. You've watched the. These are all the many characters. These are all the many characters that you can summon for. Well, some of them are probably NPCs. But let's say you've played Genshin Impact and you've watched the story and you've literally essentially fallen in love with all of these characters, or maybe with one character. Some of these characters are provided for free in order for the sake of progression, so that you can actually get to the end game. But other characters are completely optional. And let's say you've played the game, you've watched the story, and you just completely fell in love with this character, Eula, that's her name, and so essentially you can either summon for her, naturally go with the free to play route, which will take time. But if you really want, you really like, again, you really want like Eula, like, oh my god, she's the cutest, she's the like, I just like her so much as a character, I must get her. You will spend money. even if she's not that useful or strong on the like in the game thing. Like obviously she's gonna be decent, but as of this point, like I'm sure like Genshin Impact has so many characters as of now, and she's a pretty old character. And so you're getting her. You're not really getting her just for the how useful she is. You're getting her just for how cute and just how much of an interesting character she is. And so that's why you're getting her. You're getting her. You pulled for her. And if there are cosmetics, I don't know if Genshin Impact has cosmetics, but if there are cosmetics, like say I don't know, schoolgirl outfits for Eula and all of the female characters, or or summer like swimsuit outfits for every character. Well, if you're a Eula fan or a Eula simp, you will want to see her in a schoolgirl outfit and in a swimsuit outfit. And the only way to get those, pay money. And the outfits really, the outfits are totally optional. Do not really help you at all in battle. You only get them just for your own pleasure, for the sake of fan service. And so, you know, that's something that would be reasonable, and you will be getting them, just for the sake of fan service. That's mainly why, like, that's the main selling point of current gacha games, of the current open world gacha games. Now, obviously, they also have their farming, and the farming is annoying, and they obviously want you to spend money. But again, the average player of open world gacha games, they're not going to grind. They're there for the story, they're there for the characters, and the cosmetics. That's it. They're really, and again, they're not really going to, and because you don't really have a PvP, which is good in my opinion. I think PvP not being a part of gacha games nowadays is such a good thing, because it takes away the toxicity of, flexing with how much you spend on your characters. It takes away the toxicity. And now, sure, you can still flex with how easily you defeat, how much damage you do with, like the PVE bosses. Like, sure, there's still that. But again, at the very least, you're not. At the very least, you're not suffering from toxicity of that. And so it kind of makes farming for characters nothing you really want to do. You're just there for the game, the story, and the characters, and the cosmetics, and the exploration aspect. Like for example, in Genshin Impact, whenever there's a new story update, there's usually a new addition to the world map added. That means more exploration, more side quests. Because again, what Genshin Impact did was kind of borrow from the quest incentive, doing the quest incentive and the side quest incentive from Breath of the Wild. They borrowed from that, and they just made it so that you like the characters. It makes, like, again, it's mainly a story game, and I'm sure that's where most other current open world gacha games are going for. But 7th Edition's Grand Cross is a traditional gacha game. There is no open world. There is a PvP, and you have lots of PvE content that literally makes you want to farm, grind. Any new player introduced to the gacha game industry knows the gacha games from a Genshin Impact perspective, or something similar. They don't know it from the grind aspect that Genshin Impact, that the 7th Edition's Grand Cross is. It is so overwhelming for any new player and any new gacha game player. And so, yeah, 7th Edition's Grand Cross. Obviously, I went out of tangent. But yeah, I agree with Amazing that of what he said. It's a mobile game, not a full-time job. And I agree. Because you want to know what I am doing at the same time of recording and reacting to this game? I mean, this video? I am playing 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. And I am essentially what I'm essentially doing is farming auto mode for like equipment. And because it's auto mode, I can literally just leave my phone at the side, and that's it. Let's continue the video.
content, you gotta grind pretty much 24/7 if you want to compete with the highest level of players. If we're talking floor 4 bird here, this is one of the examples here. I have a few other examples as well.
Now, what he said, compete with the higher levels of player. Because this is a PvP game, it's a PvP gacha game, competing with higher levels of players actually does matter. Especially because, you get some, like, unique things, like getting exclusive characters that you need to be, like, super high up in the PvP ranks. And also getting more gems weekly. But I'm just gonna be honest. I am someone who, like, in normal games, I like 100%ing. And so what this means is that in this game, my goal is to just max out my characters as much as possible. I don't really care a whole lot about PvP, and it seems like the overall player base of Grand Cross also doesn't really care a whole lot about PvP. Sure, we do PvPs for the dailies and for certain stuff, but mainly what we're focused on is just getting the characters stronger and maxing out the characters, even the useless characters, because of boxy C. So that's what we're doing, and getting holy relics is also part of the maxing out journey.
But mainly this, right? Floor 4 bird. If you guys don't know about floor 4 bird, the way it works is that you go through all floors 1 to 3.
Here's the thing. Like before, literally, you could just beat level 3 and then you get to this level 4, floor 4, and it would be like for the enhancing stuff. But I just realized that once you get to this section, they've updated the thing, and what they did is that they've now you get either one free chance per week to attempt this floor. Now, and because you can either defeat it once, or maybe you get to defeat until like I guess you get tired and get defeated or something. I don't know, but you just get to pass this thing. But now, if you do fail your free one time, in order to fully access and unlock this floor, you need all of the holy relics. All of the holy relics for all of the characters that need bird materials. Basic materials. There are 15 characters. So that means you have to do that. And to get holy relics, you need 5k. 5 million gold. So that means you gotta farm a lot of gold. You really have to farm a lot of gold in order to get the holy relics. So that's the thing, Holy relics are kind of like an extra passive. They're kind of like an extra passive, And they also book stats, which boost boxy C. I mean, honestly, because I'm endgame, I can literally defeat all the way to floor 3 with all my characters being alive and everything, and just gradually, like, I don't even bother farming. Like, I just do them once to get the guaranteed, and that's it. And I do them once a week. I don't even bother with this. I will not even attempt it until I get all holy relics and I have strong characters that can get this thing. And it will be the same thing. Do them once a week, defeat this thing once a week, and that's it. Because I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole of having to farm this boss for like 10 times. Hell no.
You get to floor 4 bird, and it's an infinite grind endgame. So this is a way where you're actually able to get, a bunch of resources here to actually upgrade holy relics in the game. Now, the problem with this system that they have here is that it's infinite. The fact that, you're forced, not forcing, but like, guys, the whales are going to be doing this, right? That's the thing we have to understand. The whales are going to be doing this no matter what. And that's the main problem, is that we don't want the whales having to be discouraged and then quitting the game because all their content is just kind of like forced grind, and they don't want to have to do that. And even for like a later game,
that's the thing, whales, the people who spend money on the game, they basically spend money to skip, actually, right? Like, that's the thing. When you have end game content that is dependent on grinding, that is such an anti-whale. And again, I don't really like whales because I just don't like how toxic some of them are. But as someone who's grown to appreciate gacha games and the unique stories of gacha games, because sometimes they do have stories. It's just that the traditional gacha games don't really focus on the story a whole lot more, unlike the newer gacha games. And lately, there's been a new gacha game that had Danganronpa levels of graphics, but got completely shut down for some reason. I don't know why, I don't know what, but I'm sure they had a story mode that was really interesting at the very least, and I really feel bad that I missed out on that because I had it on my Steam. I had it on my Steam account, and I did not play it because of time. I would have loved to stream that. Anyways, and so now I've grown more appreciative of the contributions that whales do for these games, because what whales essentially do is ensure that the game is not dead by funding essentially the game, you know. And when you have end game content that is that relies on grinding and farming, now sure, some whales may immediately be discouraged by the mere fact of grinding, right? But you will have some whales that will stick around. They will attempt because again, if you're a whale, you spend the money to get your power, to get your character super OP, and what you want to see is your characters one-shotting the damn boss. If you cannot even one-shot the damn boss, then what is the purpose of spending money? What is your purpose? Well, because you have PvP, you can do that. You're gonna one-shot players in PvP. Yeah, you're essentially gonna compete against other whales, and that's the thing. Once you're competing against other whales, well, you can no longer one-shot. What do you need to do? You have to actually grind. Get these materials to get stronger. For your characters. Get these materials to get stronger for your characters. That's what you have to do as a whale. Because that's the thing, like unlike other games that have where you have ranking, when you have ranking, the higher ranks are always gonna be whales. But you do have essentially skill-based matches. Or skill-based matches basically like in games would mean that you're matched against people who have about the same skill as yours. But because this is a gacha game, the skill is more dependent on literally just how strong your characters are. That's it. And you are at the right ranking when the people you're facing, when you face these players, you have about a 50% chance of defeating them. And by 50% it means getting lucky. How do you get lucky? Hoping that the characters that your DPS characters are the ones that get like an extra card or something, get more skills. Because this is a game, like it's not a PvP where you can dodge and attack. No, it's a PvP that you have to go like with kind of like a turn-based, but instead of you having access to your turns, to your skills all the time, you have to like match cards or something, like use your cards and everything. It's something like it is something, it's a strategy game. It's a strategy game that requires your thing, but this gacha game is less than strategy and more like how lucky you are and how much you've invested in your characters and in your entire box, you see. So that's how things go with 796 Grand Cross. And whales are going to be essentially forced to grind. Because to essentially grind so that they can defeat their fellow whales, because the fellow people they're playing against. But here's the thing. At the very least, you as a whale, you want to have your satisfaction of one-shotting the boss so that the grinding doesn't feel as tedious, And here's the thing. If you need to grind as a whale, well, he's gonna say it so.
Player that's trying to compete in this endgame type content and they're trying to do this is a really difficult, fight. And it's not just difficult, it's annoying, right? Mm-hmm. It's an annoying fight if you guys have done this fight. So yeah, again, the main thing that's bad about this fight really is that the rewards from it, let's go to the rewards here. The rewards from the fight are actually just not good, right? If you look at the rewards here,
The rewards. Respelger's feather. This is a material that you need to have. You need to have this material so that you can enhance your characters. So that you can enhance the Holy Relic, make the character stronger, right? These other cards, the fact that they're random, it's totally fine. You know, they're not really useful.
you're able to get the bird's feathers at a 9% drop rate on 4 of them for a drop. You have a 25% chance to get 2, and then
And again, you know, that's the thing. Totally normal, totally acceptable that the 2 feather and the 1 feather, or not the 2 feather and the 3 feather ones being like luck based, you know, luck based and randomized, right? But the fact that that you're not even guaranteed one single feather when defeating the boss, that's like, what a waste of time. Because that means you're likely to get these useless, and I'm gonna say useless, they're useful when you're early game and everything. But when you're a whale, you have like probably 999 copies or 99 copies of these like unknown and blue magic edges. You already have plenty of them because of all of the purchases you've made. They're useless to you. So the fact that this one unit that for some reason you cannot pay for, because you know if you're a whale you want to pay for it, but if you cannot pay for it, if you don't want to, if you cannot pay for it, then this has to be guaranteed. But it's not even guaranteed. It's not even guaranteed, and the likelihood of getting it is so low. It is so low, and so it's essentially, and also mind you, I don't know if he's gonna point it out, but the bird, I guarantee you, most likely it has damage cap. What does damage cap means? It means that you cannot one shot it. It means that you cannot one shot it. So if you're a whale, what a letdown, right? What a disappointment. What do you mean there's a damage cap? What do you mean I cannot one shot? I spent thousands of dollars on this character. I should be able to one shot. I want to see 9 million damage on that character. I don't want to see 200,000. No. I want to see 9 million damage. What do you mean I cannot one shot it? So obviously, it's going to deter whales from enjoying their whaleness, you know? You know what I mean? So at least you want to make, okay, so if the whale has to grind, make it so that they can get this material guaranteed. And also, again, this also benefits any free to play or dolphin player that is at the end game level. Because if you guarantee yourself this, what that means is that if you need, like, for example, you need 10 of these to enhance your Holy Relic. Well, defeat the level 10 times, boom, done. No more grinding. Well, you do have grinding for for other characters, so it's like, Jesus, but at least make it guaranteed, right? That's the minimum you can do.
and you have a 15% chance to get 1. Now, the thing is, though, the fact that this is not guaranteed any of these feathers, because, guys, you need these feathers to actually upgrade a character's Holy Relic.
Yeah.
Guaranteed any of these feathers, because, guys,
You need 10 of these feathers.
you need these feathers to actually...
And this orb is, I think this one is guaranteed. You can easily get this one, but the feathers, they're randomized. Like, oh my god, how annoying it is for any type of play, really. Like, if I was a whale, I'd feel super annoyed, because not only am I essentially not capable of one-shotting the characters, the bosses, I'm also not guaranteed a reward. You're telling me that I need to, instead of grinding to level 10 times to get the enhancement so that I can increase the power of my characters, I now have to spend even more, waste more time Like Jesus Christ. And mind you, why is the whale doing this grinding in the first place? Because the material is literally not, you don't see it on the shop. Now, obviously, this video was made in 2024, so I have not checked myself on the shop if you can buy it, if you can buy these things, or if they made at least so that there's one feather reward guaranteed. You know, I haven't really seen it. So this is my reactions are based on what Amazing's video of the 2024 state of Grand Cross. Obviously, Grand Cross has changed since then. Some things improved, and I don't know if some things just still stay the same. But again, I'm going to add up my own thoughts eventually as the video goes forward.
Upgrade a character's holy relic. If you go to one of my characters here, right, and just as an example, like I'll pull up who do we got here, like my Jelly King, right? Like if I wanted to upgrade Jelly King's holy relic, but if we go to the holy relic section, we go to enhance holy relic, look how much materials it costs. It costs 10 of these feathers and none of them are guaranteed, bro. That's insane, right? That's insane. Why is that a thing where we have a end game in Grand Cross where it's infinite grind and we have to grind the materials and hope that we get the drops, because if we don't get them, we're sitting there for forever. Now, that is a really bad thing in this game, guys. This is a mobile game, right? That's the whole point of the first point. It's a mobile game. I shouldn't have to sit here 24/7 and grind this out because it's a mobile game. I hope you guys understand this. I feel like this is like straightforward and everyone should agree with what I have to say here. You know what I mean? We don't want to spend hours on hours grinding this floor for a bird, right?
No
and
one.
I know no one's really like telling us to grind it, guys. But what else do we have to do as an endgame player, right?
True. That's the thing. Nobody's telling you to grind these things. But when you're end game level, you've finished every single story available. You've finished every single story available, side story available. You've awakened, you've max leveled every single character. And you also have SSR gear for everyone. You've farmed gold. You've upgraded the SSR equipment. And so, like, what else is there to do? Well, you can defeat the demonic beasts for holy relics. But what if you already got all the holy relics? Okay, like literally, what next is there for you to do? What else is there for you to do? What content is there? Nothing. So you have two choices: either grind so that you can continue to level up your character. Well, not level up, but enhance your holy relics so that you get more boxes, more stuff and everything. Or just simply like take a break from the game until a new update comes. And just do your dailies and that's it. But yeah, literally, what else will be there to do? What else? That's endgame content. It's the reason, like again, when you reach endgame content and the endgame content is just boring, 9 times out of 10, you just leave the game. And you forget about it. You just forget. Straight up. At least in Genshin Impact, you can go and explore. And until you get bored. And the exploration will and do little gimmicks and everything until the next update comes around. That expands the story and brings you a new region and everything. At the very least, you know? But yeah, like that's it, you know? It's just like, come on, right? Like, you need to make things a bit simpler. It's gonna be a huge quality of life improvement.
And that's the thing that it comes down to, is that the endgame players feel forced to do it because if they want to compete in PvP, they need to have all their characters with their maxed out holy relics. And that's just going to be the case in this game because it is a PvP based game. And so
yeah, mind you, it's a PvP based game. And you need all of your characters. Like if the characters that you're using have holy relics, you want their holy relics to be enhanced, so that you can get CC and everything. But even then, let's say you already have all of those characters. Well, again, there is box CC, and there's also what else aside from box CC? There's also the fact, you know, the maxing out aspect, because that's also a thrill of many gacha gamers, I would say, or it's a normal thrill for gacha gamers to have, to, you know, want to see their characters fully maxed out. And so it's essentially an endless grind.
Yeah, Bird is one of those issues. Now, another content that has a not necessarily like a full infinite grind in game, because it is a weekly attempt every.
It's a weekly attempt. I've played this Demon King. He's mainly he's a weekly thing. So the fact that he's weekly, fine, normal, good, right? You're not forcing me to constantly grind, right? But well, he's gonna say it.
Single week, but it does let you repeat runs on it. Is Demon King, and Demon King is one of those things that I feel like is a little bit annoying. It's a little bit easier to do now, but more so the rewards, right? The rewards I feel like are the annoying part of this boss.
Yeah, annoying. They're annoying because some of the rewards kinda useless. The other rewards, which is the main reason why you're even playing, memory crystal. Why you want the memory crystals? Because you need them for true awakening. How many do you need to true awaken a character? 100. And you have and it's all random. And you can only exchange up to 50 copies. And it takes, again, for some reason, instead of being able to exchange one for one, right? It's not one for one, like say, okay, so I have, because it's all random, and you have six races in the game. You have humans, fairies, giants, demons, goddesses, and unknowns. So you have 6 races. And because it's all random, you're bound to get memory crystals for races that you don't really want, right? And so instead of say, okay, so I have I wanna max out my Demon King Meliodas. I wanna true awaken him. I need demon crystals. I don't really use unknowns. And I have 20 unknowns. Wouldn't it be great if I could exchange these 20 unknown crystals for 20 demon crystals? But no. They want me to exchange 5 unknowns for one demon. So what does that mean? It means that at the end, for 20 unknowns, I would be getting literally just 4 demon crystals. What a waste, right? So it's not even well balanced, the exchange rates. Because again, I get the randomization aspect, and I get not wanting to have every not wanting it so that the awakening stuff is so that you don't have every character truly awakened at the same time. But at the very least, and I get having a 50 cap, per week you can only exchange 50 in total of every single thing, if you need 50 demon crystals, I get it, because you need about 100, right? If you need about 100, completely makes sense that it would be 50 so that you don't truly awaken too soon, right? I kind of get it, but it would just be a huge quality of life improvement if you could get a 1-for-1 exchange rate and literally just make it so that you can truly awaken on the spot. Get rid of the exchange cap. Get rid of it, because I'm sure the developers thought that players will feel discouraged to play the Demon King mode, but I guarantee you players would still play it. Why? Because when you exchange the materials, when you exchange the memory crystals for the correct types that you need to level up your characters, your PvP characters, you know what happens to those materials? They disappear. And what else matters when you're facing in PvP? Your box CC. And you know what True Awakening characters does? It boosts your box CC. And so you know what that would mean? It means that you will need to defeat the Demon King fight more times so that you can get more materials, so that you can then exchange for at least 100 of the other characters you need, so that you can True Awaken the other characters that you use, or the characters that are just sitting on your damn account, so that you can increase your box CC. And so it's kind of like the developers either fear. So it's kind of like no. I know why, because I ended up. What they want is so that it is so annoying and difficult to defeat to farm the memory crystals and get the memory crystals that to true awaken a character, so that you're compelled to actually buy the bundles that actually do have the memory crystals that are there right there guaranteed to awaken a character. I know that because I ended up spending money exactly for the collab characters. Because I knew, like, well, not only was it cheap and accessible for me, but it was also because, again, when, like, this is a limited event. This is a limited event, and these collab characters, unlike other collab characters, these units are good. These units are really good, and most likely will be helpful for PvE in the long term. And so, I am not going to just let this time and waste. Let this time go to waste and just, not buy this bundle. But again, ideally, I would much rather spend money getting cosmetics, getting bikini suits, getting schoolgirl outfits, getting maid outfits, getting sexy dresses for all of the female characters, and if I really liked a particular male character, like, I don't know, like Escanor, the Gigashat, I would much rather spend money on cosmetics so that my characters look fucking awesome and farming aura, rather than spending money to just level up my characters. But no, I can't. Like, it's that's why they made this Demon King boss fight so difficult, so that they give you the solution by paying for it. Obviously, I'm not gonna buy on every single bundle unless I feel like the unit is so good that I must do that. But otherwise, I'm not really gonna be spending that much money. But yeah, like, I just don't like this idea. And again, it is such an anti-whale thing, because just look at Fortnite. Look at Fortnite. Now, sure, Fortnite and gacha games are different games, right? In Fortnite, it's all about skill. It's all about skill, and you really only spend for the cosmetics. But for the cosmetics and animations, right? The emotes. In the gacha game, you spend for making your character stronger and everything, right? But it doesn't need to be that difficult. I guarantee you, if you have cosmetics, like for example, on the spring banner for Grand Cross, there was a schoolgirl outfit for Sabunak and Solos, 2 units. I wanted to buy these things. I literally was going to buy these things. I was going to gladly give my $30. No, they're not 30. They're $20. I was going to give away gladly my $20 to get these schoolgirl outfits, because they're limited. They're limited time. But I was not able to buy these things. Why? Because I do not have the characters, and I kind of hate. Now, in one sense, it is kind of nice, because I am not essentially, wasting my money and not keep being able to enjoy it. But again, these are outfits for characters, cosmetics. Even though I don't have them, I would be, because I am paying for the version that gives me 30 gems, which is enough for a multi. I would at least be getting a multi, even if I don't have the characters. And given the nature of the gacha game, eventually I'll pull for the characters, and I'll be able to play with these outfits that I bought, with the schoolgirl outfits. But no, they didn't allow me that. Instead, they want me to max out Instead, they want me to pay for the True Awakening stuff and everything. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I guarantee you, just look at Fortnite. Main revenue is just damn cosmetics. The cosmetics don't even make the character stronger. No. Fortnite is a game about skill. If you lose, it's not because you spent enough money. It's because you just trash. You just suck. It's all about skill. It's a skill issue if you lose. But if you lose in a gacha game, it's because you're just broke. And that obviously doesn't feel good, you know? Because for gamers, the most important thing, trait, the most valuable thing is skill. It shouldn't be money. It should be skill, you know? Nobody wants to play a game and essentially feel like as if they were told by Pokimane, well, if you're broke, just say so. You know, nobody wants to feel like that. Buy a game, you know, buy a game of PvP. Nobody wants to feel that feeling, you know, because you don't want to be reminded that you're broke. You don't want to be reminded that you're poor, right? You want to at least be able to have a chance, have a shot. Anyways,
because of the fact that you're getting these specific drops, like you're getting on the guaranteed stage or clear, you're getting the memory crystal boxes, and you can obtain one of 6 types of memory crystal. This is really bad because you don't get to pick which one you want to do. And for you guys
yeah.
wondering what Demon King is actually meant for, it's for True Awakening. And let me actually pull up my list here again, guys, because this kind of like coincides with what I have to say about that specifically. But yeah, it's a mobile game, not a full-time job. Pretty much anything that we are forced to grind in the game or feel forced to grind in the game, and it's infinite as well. It's not like a weekly reset thing. It's infinite grind. We should not have to do, bro. It's a mobile game, not a full-time job, man. Also, I don't want to have to like auto grind overnight anymore. I feel like that's a thing that of the past. We've kind of gone past that point where Grand Cross was just like a heavy grind game, man. I think Sora mentioned it in his doc here. But pretty much like just, yeah, like this one right here. One big thing I'd want to see too is some sort of offline farming, please.
Yeah, offline farming should be good because again, right now as I am recording the damn video, I am farming for gear that so that I can spend on my well put on my characters, and then eventually increase my gear so that I have more boxes. You see. But yeah, like offline farming would be so great. If not, if there's no offline farming, then make it so that you can spend like in one single, like for example, like Netmarble has already done this, you know, when you have deathmatch appearances and you see like 3 versions of like Belmont or the original demon, instead of having to face every single Belmont or original demon one by one, what you instead get to do is enable the option that allows you to do simultaneous runs, and simply you click on one Belmont and you're gonna spend the stamina needed to defeat 3 Belmonts. And you click on the level, you click on the difficulty you need, you spend the stamina needed to defeat, you spend the stamina needed, you defeat Belmont, and you get the rewards as if you defeated Belmont 3 times. But you only did it 1 time, but you got the rewards as if you did it 3 times. Netmarble knows how to do this. They could easily make it so that in in these endless grind end level event stages, you do the exact same thing, or in any stage really, any stage, you know, in any stage for like any mode, right? Just simply have some sort of simultaneous run, and you click the amount of time needed. You click the amount of time. You just do the amount of times you want to do. You can either do as many runs as possible, or well, no, you can either do as many runs as your stamina allows you, or do the runs that you personally need. And all you have to do is just defeat the level once. Defeat the level once. And because this is just gonna be grinding, have the time mode, have the auto mode enabled as well. And so that way, you do one auto mode run whilst you're doing something else, and within probably like 2 minutes, the level has been cleared, and you've gotten all of the materials as if you farmed the level like a bazillion times. But all you really did is just defeat the level 1 time and spend the stamina necessary that, and just basically spend all of the stamina you wanted to spend. You know, that's what they should do. It should be a huge quality of life improvement. That's the most realistically thing you could do. Otherwise, like again, have some sort of offline mode, right?
Please. let us have some type of farming offline where, you know, we can set like a kind of like a patrol, but for a specific type of item in the game, like gold or, you know, boss materials, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we need to have things like that because I'm not trying to get my battery to die and I leave my phone overnight. You know, that's
Yep.
something of the past, guys. We're beyond that, right?
We're past that. It's literally been 7 years, bro. And you have so much to grind. Have something like kind of like in patrol, right? So that offline it's just constantly running in the background. It's just running and running and running and running and accumulating stuff. Like make it so that okay, just set like the next amount of characters and they'll just do the thing, right? And to make it even better, make it so that it's infinite. It's infinitely farming. That would be so good. And mind you, you're not losing money and you're not losing anything by doing this, Netmarble. If you're listening, Netmarble, you're not losing anything. Why? Because again, this is literally basic stuff. It's just basic stuff. And I guarantee you, people will still keep on spending money for the gems and for the cosmetics for certain characters. That's still a very, very sustainable amount, sustainable revenue. The other stuff, like, it should just be easy to, especially whenever here, like, you know, it would be really, really good for newer players as well. You know, because the more new players, the more potential whales you have, the more potential dolphins, the more potential revenues, right? And the more popular the game may become, right? And if the people like Grand Cross, maybe they might feel enticed to play Origins, and you know, and support Origins as well, right? Because that's the thing, you know, you sent your best coders and workers to work on Origins, and you spent so much time on Origins that it would be kind of like a shame and a disappointment if because if people don't end up playing Origins as much, you know. Now, granted, most likely it will get to a point where there will be more Origin players than there are more Grand Cross players. But again, Origin is the type of game that will probably, to make content and update, cost you a lot more money than it will for Grand Cross. So at the very least, make it so that Grand Cross is, you know, is there. Like, Grand Cross is your main source of revenue. Origins is your passion project. And to fund your passion project, you need a stable source of revenue. And Grand Cross can easily be that. If you make it so that it's so like if you continue making the collabs, if you continue updating, like having certain characters, people will keep on playing the game. And if you have cool, handsome looking male characters and sexy looking female characters or cute female characters, and you have cosmetics, people will pay money. It will be a stable source of revenue, even if you know, like, there isn't much content added. You will have newer players that will feel like, hey, I have a chance, right? I have a chance. I can catch up eventually. And oh, look at this! Look at the new banner. It's a new version of it's Merling, and she's very, very sexy, and they have a schoolgirl outfit for her. I'll buy the schoolgirl outfit if I need to. $20. Boom. Here's my money. Oh, I should 6-6 her if she's that good. And she's also very hot. Take my money. Boom. Simple as that. Any whale will also, and the whales will also keep on doing that. So again, make the endgame content more satisfying. And have an offline version so that you can grind for basic stuff.
That's that point. And also that's something that new players don't want to have to deal with. And we will segue into that, guys. We will talk about that. Okay, so the next thing I have here is OC characters are not hype and will not bring new players to the game. Now, the one major problem I feel like Grand Cross struggles with as just a game in general, as a mobile game, is getting new players to play the game. That is a major problem for a god.
It is. You want to know why? You have so much shit to do in order to even beat. Because what's the entertainment of Grand Cross? The PvP. What else, aside from the PvP, is also entertaining in Grand Cross? The story. well, the story will eventually run out. So there's that. Once you are caught up with the story, what else is there for you to do? PvP. And, well, you can only get so far in PvP. Eventually, you will start getting dunked on and getting dunked on by people. And that's because your characters are weak. Now it's time to upgrade your characters. You need to level them up. You need to awaken them, super awaken them, true awaken them, if that's even necessary. You need to get their holy relics if they have holy relics available, and enhance their holy relics as well. You need to LR them if there's even an LR evolution for them, and you also need to get the gear, the equipment, and max out the completely level up, get it to UR level equipment. Make sure that all of the roles for the equipment are all the basic stats that you need, so that there's a lot of grinding, a lot of things to do, and it's to a new player it is so overwhelming.
Watch a game that's trying to be, trying to pretty much make money and be consistent in the gacha sphere, right? That is something that is really tough. Now, the reason why it's tough for a new player to get into the game,
I will say this: Grand Cross has managed to stay relevant for like a traditional type of gacha game.
Is this right here, Bog CC? I have 15 million on my
and yeah, that's the main discouragement for newer players. Why does Bog CC matter, right? Because here's the thing, ideally in most gacha games, most gacha game players would have the day one units maxed out and have the other units that I guess would be their favorite characters and the ones that are really good in PvE and stuff like that maxed out. Anyone else would just be completely just level 1. As if they would just be sitting there and everything, right? But Box CC, why is Box CC important? Because they provide basic stats, and having more basic stats means more general CC for whenever you're playing PvP and even PvE content. Why does having a high CC matter for PvP and PvE? Because again, because of the stats, because it makes the experience more faster and smoother, but also because they make it so that when you're playing PvP, you're far more likely to get first. And in PvP, depending on how broken the meta is, going first is a must. Otherwise, an immediate loss.
Main account now is someone that's watching my videos, seeing my Box CC, and especially as a new player, do they think they're going to be able to get 15 million?
And again, if this was just purely a number just for flexing, now sure, it may discourage some players, but it would also, again, if the game wasn't so not free to play friendly, then people will actually be like, I want to get to this one day, and I will grind and do and everything, right? But because it's a PvP based game, again, it's the main selling point, and also for PvE, you're forced to have a high Box CC, right? So yeah, it's an endless grind.
Million Box CC, bro. They're not going to be able to get 15 million Box CC, and it would take them at the bare minimum 3-4 years, which is absolutely insane.
3-4 years just to get to this level. And by 3-4 years, we don't know what will happen. We don't know if 7 Edison's Grand Cross is gonna shut down in 3-4 years. We don't know if the Box CC cap is gonna increase furthermore to where now you need to spend more time to catch up. And so it's gonna be wild
to be able to get to this point in the game. And that's just I feel like just an estimate, because I don't even know if that's actually the case, because I've spent money on this account. I've done a lot of things on it in general for that. And so yeah, 15 million is a lot, right? So Box CC is something that really holds back new players, so they feel like they're not,
again, especially when it's time, right? When it's time, if it takes time, that's totally normal, right? But if it takes money, then again, it's part of that. Again, if you're a gamer, you're already familiar with microtransactions in your average AAA games, in your average single player games. you're tired, right? You want to escape this microtransaction craze.
Able to do a ton of things in the game because they feel kind of hindered because of their box EC. They're just not able to do a lot of the end game stuff.
Yeah.
And I get that like end game is supposed to be for, you know, the later game players. I
Yeah.
get that. But if we're trying to get new players into Grand Cross, we need to have the new player experience feel more welcoming so that the players are actually encouraged to try and do, you know, later Demonic Beast and,
Yeah.
you know, Demon King and, you know, hopefully Floor for a Bird. If
Yeah, like for example, I am a returning player and I was surprised at how like easier per se, quote unquote, they made Demon King, because I played at the for the weekly attempts at the hard level. The good thing is that the quality of life improvement that Marvel did is that recently is that whenever you quit or lose, your stamina and resources do not get spent, meaning that you can attempt again. You can attempt again, and you're not gonna lose as much. You know, you're not really gonna lose as much. So you can feel free to just go back and play again. And so yeah, and so I literally managed to. I literally am only using, like, again, the units that I'm using for the Demon King for the hell difficulty or whatever the maximum one is. I literally am using two sets of characters. Some of them are the ones that I already had. Others are the ones that I was lucky enough to pull when I returned. One of them are Escanor and Merlin duo, DK Meliodas, Demon King Meliodas, Light Bond, Light Bond. Yup, a Light Bond, and then Red Festival Diane. So like an old unit, older than Light Bond, and so and obviously I have them very well leveled up, maxed out, about as maxed out I would say, about as much as I can do, you know. And then for the other team that I'm using, because you need like specific playing a specific way and matters with certain skills, right? I am using. I guess this is the benefit of pulling in the Shield Hero banner, the first one that ever came out, and and that was pulling for the. I forgot her name, but she's the girl that uses a fishing hook as a main weapon. She has a buff skill, and she can level up her own skills every time she attacks. Then I'm also using. I am using Priscilla. She's the new collab unit. So again, it's kind of like you know, like kind of like cheesy, but because it's a new unit, and it's kind of like not free to play. But again, you know, it's what rewards being playing and summoning right now. You know, you have Priscilla, a really good unit for Demon King. I also have, believe it or not, the Jenna, or was it the other girl? I forgot. And this girl, she has exactly a debuff skill and a healing skill, which are needed for the Demon King. And then I'm also using Super and Beatrice, who have a debuff skill as well. And the reason I'm having them is because they provide revives, and you really don't want to die in this game, in the Demon King phase. But again, they by summoning in these games, by summoning in this end game, in this with this new collab and new characters, you make it so that it's much easier to defeat the hell difficulty, and it's really nice. At least for the weekly attempt. That's it. For farming, it's still gonna be tedious, and I'm not gonna farm. I am not gonna do that. I'm gonna farm the basic things that I need, but then after that, I really don't know what I'm gonna do. Probably just keep going for gold or something.
if it's actually revamped. So things like that, man. And I feel like the new player experience does need a full revamp. And I do have something to segue into that specifically. So let me actually pull up my doc again. So let's actually scroll down here, guys. And we'll scroll to this one specifically, because this one ties in with what we're talking about. The new player experience is still really bad and needs a revamp. Give players story skip, free gear, heroes way that needs to include the demonic beast units at level 100 SA6.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Hero Way is basically like an exclusive beginner player quest mode that if you complete, they give you certain challenges, and if you complete these challenges per day or per batch, you get to have rewards and also some free units. But these three units, being at level 100 and Super Awakened at 6, and Super Awakened at level at 6, basically being maxed out, would be really good so that at least you can save yourself the problem of attempting this new demonic beasts, right?
New reverse stages, more free. I'm gonna say 6 out of 6 characters at this point because I think the devs can do it. The devs can.
Yeah, 6 characters. It would also be good so that the unit is literally just maxed out, right? Because again, we're already at a point where there are so many characters that it just wouldn't hurt. It just wouldn't hurt.
Can do it. More free 6 out of 6 characters in events. Right, so this is something that we did talk about on the podcast, but I feel like it's something that at this point in the game, guys, why doesn't Netmarble do this? Right, if we're trying to get new players into the game, give free characters in these events. Just as an example, we have this Ragnarok festival going on right now. Imagine if we had this Twigo event or even this Leonis Firework Festival give a 6/6 of it doesn't have to be even a crazy character, but just 6/6 of a green Grimmore, right? Why not? Green Grimmore, 6/6 of a Red Hauser, 6/6 of a Blue Skinny King, right? Just a bunch of old characters that obviously we as long-term players are probably not going to need, but this is mainly a thing that would be for the newer players and something.
Yeah, it would be units that for us older players, long time players, we're not really gonna use them. They're really just gonna sit there. But for the beginner players, they're gonna be good for at least for farming in the beginning, for beating the story levels, and getting to the point where they can start farming with those characters. It's gonna be good for them at the beginning.
That the new players could strive to do. They would do these events whenever they can actually try and get these done, and then they would be able to get free dupe coins for characters and be able to actually fill out their box, right? So it would kind of
and increase their box CC at least so that they can match up at a much quicker rate.
Kind of alleviate a little bit of the box CC problem. It wouldn't fully alleviate it, but that would definitely help. Just having more units in your box allows you to get more box CC and will in turn probably help you out. Now, another thing that I did mention in that as well was, give players story skip. If we're trying to have players, and especially new players, get into the game and try and do endgame content, we have to be able to allow them to get through a lot of the content that...
Yeah, that's the thing. Most of the current Grand Cross gameplay, and most of what actually does matter, is endgame content. The story is nice, but again, it's 7 Deadly Sins, and at this point, almost everyone already watched the whole anime, the movies, and also probably even read the manga of 7 Deadly Sins. It's all over. Nobody needs to experience 7 Deadly Sins through the story mode, Sure, if the person wants to experience it for themselves or for showcasing, fine. Totally normal. But if the person wants to skip it just so that they can catch up with the late game content, then allow them to skip it. And there is actually, they do sell the skipping thing. It's a chapter clear bundle. The problem is, to get to this item that allows you to skip, you need to pay real money. You need to pay real money. And it can only work on chapters of the main story. Meaning, you cannot skip Ragnarok. You cannot skip the other side stories, and you cannot skip Four Nights of the Apocalypse. Now, I do understand the Four Nights of the Apocalypse because it's kind of brand new, and most people aren't really watching the anime or reading the manga. But for Ragnarok, it's again, I feel like Ragnarok is, and even the catastrophes, these could have been their own little games. Their own little games with their own little story. Because again, here's what it would have been so great. I do like the Ragnarok and the catastrophe characters. Because they are, at this point I've already gotten to know them. I've gotten used to them. But again, you're a 7 Deadly Sins. This is 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. This is not Ragnarok Grand Cross. This is not Catastrophes Grand Cross. This is the 7 Deadly Sins. You're probably thinking, who the hell are these characters? Well, sure, some of these characters are hot and sexy, but other than that, I don't really know who they are. I'm not really hyped to summon for them. Now, sure, they may be good for certain content, but other than that, I don't really know who they are. I really don't. And whilst it is kind of interesting that you still do have the Seven Deadly Sins characters show up in these little stories. The focus is not really on the Sins, but it's on these new characters, right? It is on these new characters. Like Catastrophes seems to be like you barely see the Sins. You barely do. On Ragnarok, at the very least, the Sins do appear more often. They do appear. And I think that's something that they should do for the Catastrophes. Like, they should have more Sins interactions. Like, we already know Eastin seems to have the hots for Bond. We already know that. But obviously Bond is already taken, you can't really do much about that. And pretty much almost all of the members of the Sin are already taken, so... But it would be nice to just have these little funny interactions. But then again, it would have been so nice if all you simply had was invested in a little anime, right? In a little anime, in a little manga, right? Where you have these unique characters. And depending on how popular they become, you can now make an announcement. Okay, everyone, we announce that these characters that you love so much from Ragnarok and the Catastrophes, they will officially now be part of Grand Cross, of the Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross, based on how a lot of people know these characters. Like, people who now see Seven Deadly Sins, they're gonna see it like each update is kind of like a collaboration, and it would be like a permanent collaboration every time, and so that would be good. That would be good. That would be great, right? But yeah, whatever.
That's already existing in the game, and just let them skip a lot of the kind of like early game stuff that people are not trying to grind anymore, right? Especially as a newer player, like, and just as an example too, if you guys have played Dragalia Lost, this is a game that came out like years ago now. It did unfortunately shut down. It was a really...
What?
Dragalia Lost, this is a game that came out like years ago now. It did unfortunately shut down. It was a really good free-to-play game, man. But pretty much, they added a story skip function. They did add that later in the game to alleviate the new player burden. It's something that allows the new players to get into the game and feel more like, encouraged to actually play the game past a point. If they get stuck on the Demon King fight at like chapter like 580, that's just like, a super annoying thing that they could just probably not be able to beat. And so if the players are actually like, story skip to a certain point in the game, like I guess since Grand Cross has like 30 chapters, we could probably skip them to like at least chapter like 25 or like even 20. Right, like maybe it wouldn't catch up to exactly the Demon King, but it would put them in a spot where they have a ton of gems for free, they would have a ton of resources for free, and just a lot of things that they could use to upgrade their account. Right, and they wouldn't have to grind anything. Just like imagine we had a like update where they were like, oh, story skip all the way up to chapter 20. Every new player that starts the game will just automatically be able to claim the rewards for chapters 1 to 20.
Yeah.
Like, that would be insane. I'm telling you right now, man, like, if I told that to literally anyone, they'd be like, I'm hopping on Grand.
And you would see a lot, and I guess you would be having lots of gems. And let's say, right now, there's a collab. Oh my god, I'm going to summon. I'm going to spend all of these gems and summon and get the new character, and I'm going to be invested. Oh my god.
Cross, as a new player, I'm hopping on. Or even a returning player, I'm playing the game. Right, that's something that would actually bring new players and returning players into the game. Free gear. Obviously it would be a really nice thing. I know we do get free gear throughout like festival events and major ones as well, but just more free gear, man. More free 15% gear. Allow players to fill out their box and let them get some, it doesn't have to be obviously every unit in their box, guys, but free gear that's at least like, maybe like 15 sets, maybe 10 sets. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just, fill out their box, let them have a full team of links with gear and main units with gear so that they're able to do content. And then another thing as well is that I said Hero's Way needs to include the Demonic Beast units at level 100 SA6. So what they could do with that, and I've always like kind of suggest this as well, is just have the Demonic Beast units specifically, so like Miguelda, Jormungen, Red Thonar, and then I guess Freya at this point. Freya or Margaret at this point. And
at this point, definitely. Definitely. Like, the newest Demonic Beast is Ratatoskr, and so it makes sense, you know. It's already due.
Have them be in the hero's way so that they're accessible for newer players trying to get into demonic beasts. Because remember, demonic beasts are still kind of difficult for a newer player, bro.
Yep.
If you do not have Megelda, Jormungand, Thonar, or Freya slash Margaret, you're not doing any of the 4 demonic beasts available right now. Right? You're just not doing it. And that, I think, is a major problem for people that, you know, progress their box and they're actually already done the story, let's say, but they don't know how to, you know, attempt demonic beasts and actually grind out, you know, holy relics through that. That is actually something that I feel like is part of the progression that needs to be a thing. And so they have to kind of allow the players to be able to, you know, get these characters and actually go through demonic beasts. So I think, like, as an example, they could just do, like, in Hero's Way, make it so that they clear just floor 1, and then they get 1 copy of the character, and they can get the rest of the dupes by doing, you know, a certain amount of clears on the fight. That could be cool. Like, you know, just a certain amount of floor 3 clears, and they could eventually 6-6 the character. That's a really cool way to do it. And then I feel like all the Hero's Way characters should be 6-6 and, like, SA6 level 100. Like, why not, man? No one, like, I'm telling you.
Yeah, why not? You don't lose anything. You don't lose anything. You're still going to make money off of a bunch of other stuff, and there's plenty of other units that can clearly compensate for a few characters being given away for level 100 SA6. Yeah. If anything, it will allow people to experience just how massively it is, how important it is to have a level 100 SA6 character. And it will encourage people to get their characters to level 100 and SA6 them.
Right now, Netmarble is not stressing over a green Thonar at level 100 SA6 6 out of 6 at all, because they don't care about that character. They're not worried about that character. They're worried about their more latest UR festivals and characters they're trying to sell to you right now. They're not worried about those super old characters that they can give to you for free, and at this point should be free. They really should.
They should be.
And then, all of these, like, other things here, like, I feel like new reverse stages is, like, you know, it can just be there. I mean, it's just something else that would be nice.
It would be nice, you know, like, imagine playing all of the other stuff with the enemy units, you know, like, for example, if, obviously it would require having the units, but at this point, you know, we've already seen each commandment be used. We have Cusack, we have Chandler, we have the Demon King, we also have Meliodas. Again, there are times where Meliodas has been the opponent, and there have been times where Escanor was the opponent. So we kind of good, you know, to be able to play as, like, re-experience these little moments. Like, obviously for Chandler, Cusack, and Demon King, you would need to, you know, like, well, for the Demon King, you will first need to get him, and so either of him, right? Either him or the other version. And I guess you don't have him, you can still, I guess, attempt it. Or I guess you just wouldn't be able to attempt it. And it would just be there waiting until you have the Demon King, right? But the Chandler and Cusack, for Cusack, you probably already have the other version, and you already have Chandler, most likely. So you would need to invest in them so that you could defeat these reverse stages. And obviously, for the stages where, you know, Meliodas was the opponent, or Escanor was the opponent, well, you probably already have a super strong unit of Meliodas and Escanor, and you would really only be playing this mainly because just for the rewards of reverse stages, you know, like free SSR tickets at this point doesn't really hurt, you know. Some free gems also doesn't really hurt. Like, it just would be nice, you know.
Not necessarily like a new player experience thing, but, like, you know, I don't know, guys. I kind of wrote a lot of this out while I was just kind of, like, ranting, so this could probably be, like, a separate thing, but reverse stages will obviously be nice. But again, more free 6-6 characters in events. Just do it. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, man. As I said, it can be older characters. It doesn't have to be good characters. It just has to be characters to fill out a person's box so that they are able to eventually get a good amount of box you see through that. Just having, like, 6-6 Red Demon Melee, 6-6, you know, I don't know here. Let me see. Let's just scroll through. 6-6 Green Lilia, 6-6 Ragnarok Bond. These are not characters that Netmarble's stressing about. I'm telling you, man. Like, you know, oh, these units. Oh my god. These units. Blue Jericho, New Year's Liz, LR Liz, actually, though, I feel like should be free at this point too. And also the Green Demon Melee. Like, make these characters free. I guess I could understand not LR Liz being free, but they've given her out in the past, man. They have given her out in the past, so I don't see why they can't. I really don't see why they can't, guys. So yeah, new player experience. Pretty much that is the main thing that Netmarble needs to work on. If they're trying to get new players to play Grand Cross, they gotta fix the new player experience, man. That has to be something that is addressed.
Yep.
And if it's not going to be addressed, Grand Cross unfortunately will just not last long. We need to get new players into.
Yeah, it will eventually not last long. Why? Why will it not last long? Because there is only so much endgame content and so much updates that a whale will do. Because here's the thing. Because the 7th Edition's Grand Cross relies and main selling point being on PvP, eventually it gets to the point where for whales, it's just annoying to test out the new units and everything, and eventually it's just boring, right? Gets boring, it's nothing else. Beat and everything, boom. You spend your money, spend more money, you summon and try to do some grinding so that the characters are stronger, and boom, there's nothing else. Maybe the most interesting thing would be just experiencing the story, because I guarantee you the whales most likely, like the new stories of Four Nights of the Apocalypse and probably Ragnarok or Catastrophes, if they really care. Like, obviously they're gonna do it for the free rewards also, but they'll also, like, again, the stories might be a bit interesting and they'll watch it. But again, eventually, once you finish the story, once you finish the little things, what then? What then are you gonna do? You've already tested out the new units, you've already maxed out the new units, and so eventually, little by little, the whales are going to leave. And so that's the thing, because, mind you, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star Rail, and Honkai Impact third generation, these are all from the same company. And the reason they managed to still stay on top and popular is because they fund one another, essentially. And because they constantly update the stories, and their main selling points are the stories, people will never get tired. If you're a whale on Genshin Impact, you might as well be a whale on Star Rail, or might as well be a whale on Zenless Zone Zero. And you're never gonna run out of content. You're never gonna run out of characters. And you're never gonna run out of story. And you may be a whale in one game, and maybe in another game, you're probably a light spender or just completely free to play experience. And so you're constantly experiencing a new story update. Each month, there's a new update on either of these games. And so that way, it's kind of like, a whale that's in the Hoyoverse sphere. They're just gonna be there forever, constantly hooked. But in Grand Cross, you only have Origins. And they've just updated after like launch on March, very recently around April, they launched the newest update being Escanor. That's good. But then what else, right? You gotta, because the thing with this type of gacha games is that your main focus is not PvP anymore. And because it's not PvP, you have to put a lot more effort in the story and make the story even more longer. And that's what they've been doing so far. So far, they've been doing good. Which is why, and they've added one of the most hyped units ever, Escanor. Escanor will always be hyped. There is no character in the entire 7th Edition universe that will always be above Escanor. Escanor will always be at the top. And any 7th Edition fan, any true legit 7th Edition fan, will always want to get Escanor. So yeah.
To the game, and that I feel like is the main problem they struggle with. So that is one of the bigger things I had to mention, guys. We skipped all the way to 13 here.
And here's the thing. It's definitely obvious that 7th Edition's Origins is going through like an original story. It is original mainly because, again, it's the 7th Edition's universe, but it's a what-if scenario. The whole story is a what-if. What if Tristan traveled back in time to the time of the 7th Edition's universe? That is literally the whole thing. It's an entire what-if scenario, but it's an interesting story. And you also have Ture added into the mix. She's a new character, very interesting as well. And then you also have newer villains / characters introduce, completely original. And depending on how well they do, they might be hyped. They might get hyped, right? People might demand a return for these characters, right? And so obviously in Seven Deadly Sins, Grand Cross, the catastrophes and Ragnarok, they were mainly kind of like, I guess, a way for Seven Deadly Sins for Netmarble to test out the waters, right? Like how popular or how much profitable will original characters be, or how much they can improve in creating an original story. And it really shows. They've managed, like for example, with me, they managed to hook me with Ragnarok and with the catastrophes. Like I'm interested. I'm literally waiting for the next update so that I can experience the story and I guess eventually go back to the same old stuff that I've been doing. But other than that, like yeah, I am hyped for the story. Obviously, older Grand Cross players probably not so much because to them, that's like it's a new addition, right? Like it's new. That's not what Seven Deadly Grand Cross used to be, right? But for me, because well, one, I'm young, and also two, I like the way they've interact with the sins. And again, Ragnarok, catastrophes, they need more sins. Like on the newest chapter, latest chapter of Ragnarok, they finally allowed Escanor to be in his full glory. In his full glory, because so far he's literally being just this skinny guy. The skinny Escanor. Which, he's still fine, yeah, right, but not as R farming or as cool as Songlight Escanor. Sun version, super buffed, ripped Escanor. I want to see more of him, So they finally released him. So I want to see more Escanor, more Sins, with this Ragnarok catastrophe characters. Like I really want to see that. And so it seems that like Grand Cross, it is the main source of income, where Origins gets all the funds, and it's also the testing grounds for Netmarble to improve I guess their story skills, their abilities to create the stories and make original characters compelling and interesting. And yes, in a ways you can say that they're trying to copy Genshin Impact because it's a totally original characters. It's an OC game, They're not an existing IP, but the story was so great that people loved it and started demanding more. And so what that Marvel could do is they're literally in the correct spot by having Seven Deadly Sins combined with an OC. If you manage to create a blend, that would just be so cool. It's kind of like having Isekai Quartet, the anime, right? The anime, the little chibi anime Isekai Quartet of all of the other Isekai protagonists and all the other characters. That thing is literally just a what if thing, right? But it's so popular. Like they really had a third season after so long. And it's really hype. Like I really want to see more Isekai Quartet because it's new. You know, even though the characters are already existing, the whole thing is new, and it also serves like a good marketing strategy, because by seeing how cool Sid is, or how cool Naofumi is, or how cool Ainz is, or how cool Tanya or Subaru are in any of these Isekai Quartet, I might be more inclined to check out their actual original anime or manga. So yeah, that's the things. In other words, Seven Editions Grand Cross, it's the main source of income, and essentially the test site for Netmarble to develop Origins. And I just hope they don't end up abandoning Grand Cross. And if they ever do abandon Grand Cross, make it so that Grand Cross players can get like a huge amount of rewards in Origins to kind of like compensate for all of the time, for the money invested, and also just for being a loyal customer,
But it's very important. So yeah, again, OC characters are not hype and will not bring new players. As I mentioned with the whole new players thing, OCs, and especially these characters like, Sabnok, Thor, Balder, who as a new player knows who those characters are?
Yeah. Yeah, like a new player, they don't know who they are. That's the thing. If you're a new player, you hear Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross, what is your expectation? Seven Deadly Sins characters. You don't expect some Ragnarok, Norse mythological characters to be in here. You wouldn't expect that. Now, you would perhaps expect that in some sort of collab, right? But not in, not as like being part of the actual game.
Are these characters from 796? They're not. So do you know who any of these characters are as someone coming into the game trying to play the game? You do not know, bro. That is the problem. OCs
Yeah.
are not a selling.
Yeah, that is, they're not a selling point. That's the thing. And even though I said that, that I like them and I've gotten used to them, it is the truth as well that new players won't be attracted to Ragnarok or Catastrophes, but they would most likely be inclined to liking them. That's for sure. But this is a game that relies on the IP of Seven Deadly Sins. If you don't have the Seven Deadly Sins in any way, shape, or form, or on every banner, then people aren't going to be as hyped, People aren't really going to be as hyped. Like, for example, every single Sin form or Sin version or variant from the Ragnarok story is totally ass. They're not as they're not as useful. Like maybe Ragnarok Bond, but nobody really uses back units the same way like they used to do it back in the day. Nowadays, people use back units as if, like, in the case one of your characters gets defeated, you have another character that is going to eviscerate the enemy, or having a character that is going to eviscerate, but also provides a lot of support. So that's the newer method. Ragnarok Bond is a unit that provides a buff from the back slot, like buffs like from the back slot, but gets totally one shot once he appears. And his attack damage, his attack output, completely garbage. He's not even tanky. So yeah, that's the thing with most of the Ragnarok units. Like, so I am hoping, but this might be copium, that the one that Escanor, the Escanor version of Ragnarok becomes like totally OP, totally cool. Now I would most likely be willing to vote for that. Like, imagine an Escanor that, like, with the power of ice and fire at the same time, because like in this version of the Ragnarok universe where everything is ice, imagine if Escanor gets a power, like, because in the canon his power comes from the sun, and so far in the story, anywhere else Escanor has been completely useless. So it would be nice if maybe he manages to gain some new ability, where now his power comes from the snow. The more snow there is, he becomes stronger, and also the moon as well. Even if it's darker, he can still use his form, and he now gains some new variants of his abilities that are based on snow or moon, something related to the moon, stuff like that. And his flames change into color. His aura changes into color, like snow stuff. Kind of like that would be more cooler. Like maybe seeing Escanor, where instead of having his usual flames, his flames are now blue, like the strongest type of fire. That would be more cooler. Pun intended. But yeah, I don't know if they're ever gonna do that. It's probably copium. But yeah, like that's the thing. Like you shouldn't really rely on Ragnarok, and Catastrophes to be a main selling point, but you should make it so that people are more likely to, once they experience the story, they then get hyped for future Ragnarok and future Catastrophe characters. Like, because you have a new variant of the Sins now. That's the thing. Like, they I feel like they really didn't do a whole lot better. Like, imagine, and also because they would be Ragnarok, they would really go really well in synergy. Like, imagine a Ragnarok, a super OP version, Ragnarok version of Escanor. That would really be so good when used with, like, Thor, for example, for like defeating the bosses, right? Because Thor goes well with Ragnarok characters, and so far there aren't really that many strong Ragnarok characters. There aren't that many. But having this new Ragnarok version of Escanor that is super OP, that would change the game. That would change the game. It would massively. And I would appreciate if there's a little bit of fans. Well, I mean, if there's a little bit of fan service, where in the sense that like kind of like Eastin kind of like has a crush on Bond. If Thor has a crush on Escanor, like admiring his power, and also kind of like being interested in him, and Escanor just simply being flattered but kindly being rejecting because of he loves Merlin. But that would be cool.
Selling point for new players. They're a selling point for existing players that are already playing the game, that
That's the thing, yeah.
know what Grand Cross is all about, and are trying to just follow the release schedule and the meta, right? That's all it really comes down to. So I think for new players, they see this as like, yo, who is Thor from Grand or Seven Deadly Sins? Who is Thor from Seven Deadly Sins? That's not a character in Seven Deadly Sins. They're not playing for Thor, and so that's just something I wanted to mention here. And to build off of that, I said make the release schedule for OCs be like one every 2 months, let's say. Because back in year 1 of Grand Cross, if you guys remember, I don't know if all you guys were still playing at the time, but yeah, we only had like 2 or 3 OC characters at the time. It was like Blue Lilia was the first one, and then we had Green Valenti, and then we had like Green Shin, I think. I actually like forgot the rest of them. I'm not gonna lie, but
Year 1? Yeah, I kind of remember. Like, they also had, like, the King of Fighters collab. And when they had the King of Fighters collab, you also had these other, catastrophe units, I believe, introduced as well. And they were part of the King of Fighters collab, I think. I don't know, but they worked really well, and they just stayed there. Yeah, but again, yeah. But everything else would just be Sins related. But yeah.
Early, like for a first year of the game, we did not have many OCs, but they were pretty like insane when they released. Look at Lilia, like she was still a great character, but you had Blue Demon Melly alongside her to be part of the meta team that she was trying to build, and then you had Valenti being like a kind of counteractive team to kind of shut that meta down. Right, there was things like that were really cool, and they need to do things like that where they spread out OCs and kind of fit them in teams to allow these teams to be a lot better. And it doesn't even have to be like it doesn't even have to be like Lilia, where you slot in Lilia and then she's buffing up the team. The OC could be the main DPS, but maybe a 7 Deadly Sins unit can be supporting them, or whatever the case, guys. It doesn't have to be anything super crazy, but just bear in mind that I feel like OCs, if they're gonna be releasing them and just trying to like fill them in with banners, they gotta be just kind of like there where they are kind of meta but are spread out throughout the year, where they're not literally spammed for 2 months straight. Crazy. Yeah, that is another thing I wanted to mention.
Month after months after months after months. Yep.
Infinite grind endgame is bad for the game. I mentioned this already at the beginning, guys. You know what?
This is the most annoying thing for whale, really. Like, whales don't want to grind. They don't want to grind, and dolphins don't want to grind, and free-to-play players also don't want to grind endgame. It's kind of annoying. I'd much rather hop onto a new gacha game and and witness the story. I'd rather play Genshin Impact and try to catch up. I'd rather play Origins and catch up with the story rather than grind. Nobody wants to grind. The endgame content should be something like, so the main content is the story. Endgame content is probably just random explorations, and literally you can just use your own imagination. Like, can I defeat, or how long will it take me to collect this many materials, or explore the region, do as many side quests and stuff like that. That should be more of an endgame content, right? Exploring, doing like side quests, that sort of stuff should be the end game. Kind of like how it was for The Legend of Zelda. The main game was just doing the main story. Once you defeat the story, the end game was literally doing side quests, going on a Korok hunt, though that's the most boring part. Totally unnecessary. Eventually just upgrading your equipment, that sort of stuff. That should be end game. Well, I mean, except the stuff that requires you to defeat enemies and get certain loot, because especially if the loots are random, right? But at least, collection, exploring the world and collecting certain stuff, that's nice.
what my point on this is, infinite grind endgame is bad. How is a live service game like Warframe, how it doesn't even have infinite grind endgame? It has weekly endgame, which Grand Cross actually did have to an extent. And then they released, Bird Floor 4 and Demon King. And those are things that are infinite grind endgame and are not good for the game. Like, straight up. They're just not good for the game. Okay, make Floor 4, Bird, and Demon King have weekly reset endgame content. Yes. Change it from, the way it is right now where it's infinite grind to Floor 4, Bird, and Demon King being weekly reset. Right? Just give the rewards on the weekly reset. Have it be, you do your clear every single week. Right, you do a clear on Floor 4 Bird, and you get, maybe 5 bird feathers. You get, 2 of the main mat or 1 of the main mat, and just have it be like that. Or if they want to be really generous and just give you 1 Holy Relic full upgrade every single week, just give you all the mats you need for 1 Holy Relic upgrade every week.
That would be super nice. Like, at this point, definitely a huge quality of life improvement. That would be a huge quality of life improvement. Complete Floor 4. Complete Demon King once a week, and you immediately get 1, like, a full set for enhancing 1 Holy Relic and True Awakening, and a full set for True Awakening 1 character. 1 week. One week. 1 character of your desire, Like, you like, for the Demon King, it would be, okay, choose which type of which race you would want to get the materials for to True Awaken for, right? Like human, demon, goddess, giant, that sort of stuff, right? And you do them once a week, and you are essentially like, and the thing would be, you do them once a week, and you're completely locked out of attempting them again. You cannot spend money, you cannot spend gems, you cannot spend coins, nothing. It's something that will essentially force you to constantly check in on the game weekly. So you do your dailies, and then boom, you're out of the game. But every week, you have to come back and do this thing so that you can get 1 guaranteed enhancement for the Holy Relics, for 1 guaranteed True Awakening for a character. And the reason it makes sense for at least 1 character per week is because there are like hundreds. There's probably 100, probably even 200 characters, or more than 200 characters in the game. More than that. So imagine 1 week being spent, so to upgrade all of the characters, you would essentially be spending, almost a year by just doing the weeklies to essentially maxed out. And so it makes it so that it's not too, like, soon, right? Like, it allows for natural progression,
Why not do that on a Floor 4 Bird clear? Like, it's still hard. Like, let's not act like Floor 4 Bird is not hard, guys. It's still a hard piece of content. Like, obviously the whales are grinding it out, but I'm telling you, like, even for my free-to-play account, I struggle to clear Floor 4 Bird. And I'm 12 million, I'm 10 million box EC, right? And I'm kind of up there, man. So that's kind of crazy. And then Demon King, I feel like, even though it is like a endgame and it already has kind of like a weekly system, it needs to kind of drop the whole, like, infinite grind part where you can use essay coins on it. I feel like they should kind of take that out. I mean, at this point, it's a little too late. But if they were to take them, it needs to, like, even though it is like a endgame and it already has kind of like a weekly system, it needs to kind of drop the whole, like, infinite grind part where you can use essay coins on it. I feel like they should kind of take that out. I mean, at this point, it's a little too late. But if they were to take that out, just give more rewards on your weekly clear, right? That's how you would just, alleviate the problem. Because I don't think people should be spending SA coins to be doing Demon King runs. They should be able to do it once a week, get your weekly rewards, and then you don't do it for the rest of the week. You just take a break, man.
Yeah.
It's, again, guys, this is the main motto of this video. It's a mobile game, not a full-time job. I'm not sitting here 24/7 trying to grind out Floor 4 Bird and Demon King. I'm not trying to do that.
Yep.
Okay, so that's important. All right, don't make Demon King infinite grind. Yep, so I guess that's just part of this. I don't even know why I had this as a point. Honestly, we could just take that out. That's really just what I said above. True Awakening should not need SA coins or LR coins. It's a completely separate awakening system. Yes.
True. It should be its own separate system. And also, I want to add on top of that something else. At this point, Super Awakening coins and SSR pendants should be something that are just available there on the spot. No sort of waiting for the thing to reset, or no sort of thing for trying to get the keys in order to farm them. It should just take your average regular stamina and just farm them right there endlessly on the spot. Because again, you have so many characters that require SSR pendants, and also you have your level characters, and any character that's past level 9, that is at level 90, that needs your level pendants to be upgraded. You need one your level pendant for one upgrade past level to get from 90 to 95. From 95 to 100, you would need two UR level pendants. And to essentially, in general, and max out, like to level up UR level characters, you need two UR level pendants to get them from like 60 to 65 even. So in other words, you would need four UR level pendants to get them to from 60 to 70. And then you also need to legendary evolve the few characters that there are, you need 6 UR level pendants. And as of now, there is no way to farm UR level pendants. You don't even have a way to have a stable way to farm SSR pendants. And you need 6 SSR pendants to get 1 UR level pendant. In other words, to get 6 UR level pendants for a legendary evolved character, you would need 36 SSR pendants, which is very, very hard to obtain, bro. Like, come on, bro. Come on. And yeah, and it should and for Super Awakening as well. You have so many characters that need Super Awakening. Like again, if you don't want to make it so that farming for Super Awakening coins is easy and super accessible, they make it so that there is a way to exchange with King, so that you can get some sort of token that immediately super awakens your entire character slot. And also, I also want to add to that, for you know how there is like the hero, like the hero token, that completely boosts your character from from their base level all the way to your level 90. There should be, so that you can actually exchange materials in a similar fashion with King, so that you can get them and max out your old units that are just sitting there. Like, you're not really losing anything, bro. So yeah, like that should be new quality of life updates, because these will allow for newer players to feel like, okay, so if I farm certain materials, not only will I be able to exchange and entirely awaken my characters, but also be able to super awaken all my characters, and also completely get my character from the base level to your level 90. And now, granted, this is the token that only works on any unit released prior to 2024. So yeah, it wouldn't work for anyone released in 2024, 2025, or 2026, which makes sense, completely fair, right? But it would massively, help newer players with all of these old units to have access to all of this, to just completely max out all of their characters that are super old and are just there. To them, these old units are still going to be very important and powerful to getting and defeating these end game types of content.
Bro, this has to be like the most like stupid thing I feel like they've done as of recent, man. Like, and this is like, and I've said this even on release, this does not make sense. Why, if I'm gonna true awaken a character, let me go to Zeldris. If I'm gonna true awaken a character, does it need 3 separate awakening materials that are completely different? Bro, LR coins are for legendary rarity.
That should definitely be just for legendary. It should not be kept to it shouldn't be used for true awakening, bro.
For LR characters. They're not for True Awakening. They should not be for True Awakening. Right? They just put and True Awakening here when it should just be material for a legendary evolution. Right? It should just be for that. True Awakening coins, sure, yes. I guess you can still have Super Awakening coins be part of it. right?
Yeah.
I guess, but this is the only awakening system in Grand Cross that needs multiple different, ways of actually getting the awakening,
Yeah.
right? Whereas like if I was to just regularly awaken a character or super awaken a character, do I have a character in my box that I haven't super awakened? I have everyone super awakened, but if you guys know what I mean, if I was to super awaken a character, right, it's only going to cost SA coins. If I was to
Yeah.
do regular awakening on a character, it's only going to cost the boss materials or the full awakening token. It's not going to cost anything extra.
Yep.
And even with limit break, it costs the
You are
SSR
level
pendants,
pendant.
the books, and then your thing. But these are all like pretty much infinite grind things you can do. Right?
Yeah.
These are all infinite grind that are
Pretty
not
much.
endgame. This is not endgame, right? We're not at endgame with limit breaks. We're at endgame when we're talking true.
True awakening. Yeah. Now that said, like the UR level pendant, like that's still pretty. They're still pretty hard to come by. You cannot really endlessly farm, and I wish you could endlessly farm the SSR pendants. Like at the very least, like they at this point they should create a new tier for the event, Solgris, where you get immediately you just get your basic boxes give you SSR pendants, and then your higher tier of boxes give you UR level pendants. I feel like at that point that should be updated. It should be updated
We're not at endgame with limit breaks. We're at endgame when we're talking true awakening.
because that's the thing. Like the event Solgris, for the event Solgris, there is no actual proper place to farm for the pendants. Like in most other like you still have like you do have the Super Awakening exclusive one, and it only gives you Super Awakening stuff. But the other stuff that I would say are like for the where you can get SSR pendants, they're just completely like they're combined with the other like variants, like the SR pendants, the R pendants, and so like and you don't really use them anymore, and then you need 10 of those things to even get one SSR pendant. So like you need 10 R pendants for one SR pendant, and 10 SR pendants for one SSR pendants. So it's not like even something you would ideally want to get or farm. And so they should make it so that you have more access to SSR pendants, because yeah, at this point you have so many characters to level up, and so you need to make it so that SSR pendants are easily accessible. Like the SSR pendants requiring six copies, that's totally normal, because like if you can easily infinitely farm SSR pendants, fine, normal, right? But if you cannot, then yeah, it's completely hard and difficult, and it just kind of like forces you to deal with having lower units.
Awakening and Holy Relic upgrade. Those are the things that at this point in the game are the end game, right? So limit break is a thing that it does have multiple venues for it, but yeah, I mean, it's all things that are accessible. Whereas with True Awakening, it's not accessible. It's just not accessible. LR coins, True Awakening coins, and the Demon King materials and the random, I don't know, man. That, in my opinion, I think is a little bit skewed. I feel like that needs to be changed. What else we got here? Chaos Battle. I think they should make Chaos Battle have specific characters be increased for just like, just in general. Just have increased stats for like specific teams from year one Grand Cross. Let people experience the metas we used to have back in the day, right? Imagine that. Imagine, as I mentioned, Blue Lilia being such a cool unit back in the day. Blue Lilia, Blue Demon Meliodas, and then like Green Escanor or Rugal, whoever, have those characters be all stat increased by a certain amount, and then lower the all stats of the past 2 years worth of units and all festivals, so that people can experience these old metas.
That would be super fun. It would allow so that people get to experience what it was like to be playing PvP at that time. So like essentially, so here's what I will do. Netmarble, if you're listening, take notes. With the Chaos Battle for PvP, make it so that any unit that is festival unit, mind you, a festival unit, any collab unit, any UR level unit, any unit released within this year, 2026, 2025, 2024, and 2023, like their stats are lower to the point where they deal no damage, meaning that any damage they do is automatically a patience. And so that the older units that were in the older metas would essentially be like so OP that if someone dared like use, like, say, what's the current meta? Suver and Beatrice, Red Emilia, and Light King, right? And Escanor Merling in the background, right? Make it so that using these four units, for example, if someone was to use them, even if they're maxed out and everything, if these units are being used and they're facing against an older unit, what's the old meta? Like blue Demon Melee, blue Lilia, and let's even put blue Skinny King and some random backline blue unit. You like these four, like you have these teams, these four old blue characters, and the at this current meta, well, in current PvP, in the normal PvP, the current meta would just be eviscerating, one turning these old units, right? But with the newer units, but with this new chaos mode, with this chaos battle mode, these units, their stats are so lowered to the point where their attacks are literally only patience. Their debuffs and uniques not active. So you should you should make it. I would make it so essentially any units released in 2020 or 2021 or 2022 are not festivals and are not your level characters. They're gonna be given a huge stat boost and completely out CC and like the newer units. That way it would be so much fun. Like imagine Silver and Beatrice getting one shot by literally Marmos of all characters. Like that would be fun, right? That would be fun. So yeah.
And let these metas thrive. That could be really, really cool to, kind of change Chaos Battle in a sense to where it's more so just experiencing older metas and being able to get gems through that as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like, obviously, there's always going to be a meta team in Chaos Battle regardless of how they do it.
Yeah.
But if they're able to do something along those lines, I feel like that would be a lot more fun and people would be able to experience the good times of Grand Cross. I mean, I'll be honest, those were the great times, right? A festival banner should have better featured units. Why is Green Throner on banner in 2024? Exactly. Like, why is Green Throner on a banner in 2024? I pulled up Thor's banner, bro. Literally, I did it on my stream. I pulled up Thor's banner, and I found that Thor's banner had so many useless characters that did not need to be on there, bro. Like, let me find this banner, bro. Let me find this, because it was insane, actually, if you think about it, right? Why does Thor's banner have... Is it this banner right here? Is it this update? Oh, this is Sobnak. Oh, we're kind of behind. Yo, I gotta go forward. But, okay, anyways, I'll actually use Sobnox as an example, actually. Why not? Let's use Sobnox banner as an example here. Let me find the banner part of it. I think I gotta go forward one. But let me go to the banner. Oh, no. Here we go. Here we go. Let's just do Thor. Here we go, guys. So, this is Thor's banner right here. And
you hear some good units. Like, no, for starters, Green Throner. If she's already being given away for free, was it the green one or red one? I don't know. The ones being used for what's it called? The demonic beast battles, fine. Like Miguel, that's not the right Miguelda, is it? Yeah, like these Miguelda, like these Brunhild, like Brunhild in general and Freyr, like they're really good still. Even Scotty, also good. Jormungand, very peak, absolute necessary unit. I think one of these Freyas for the Holy Relic that allows her to function well for Nidhogger. And then Ragnarok bot, like a very decent back unit, I guess. But at this point, like, I guess at the time, judging it from it, right, you should have more feature, like units that are good. Like, he's really good. He's still relevant. Well, not in PvP, but he's still good in PvE. So have some units that, like, Red Sager. Is this a unique, like, seasonal, like, for example, like, from a new player perspective or returning player perspective, in every banner, there should at least be units that are relevant, still relevant, or an absolute must-have for PvE content. You know, because for a returning player or a new player, having Blue Magelda, I don't know. I think what red was it? Red Toner? Yeah, red Toner, Green Germangan are absolute must have. Also Freyr for like the dogs as well. Absolute must have. And now with well, not now, but with also with Nidhogger, with the serpent, you know, having Freya is also really good. Like these are absolute have must have units regardless of how old they are. And the other ones, like they're kind of like meh. Like, well, no, actually, Blue Wings King, he's still really good for farming on auto mode, you know, because he has the two AOE attacks that one shot almost every enemy. So yeah, he's still a really good farm unit. So I would say he's fine to have, you know. And then for like, I guess the Belmont battle, having Green Brunhilde and I guess Red Brunhilde as well because of the LR, you know, are also fine, you know. Anyone else? I guess. Oh yeah, Red Scotty. She's also really good for the demonic beast as well. So totally fine. But Red Sigurd, Green Toner, Red Magelda, Blue Lost Bane, Green Diane, Ragnarokmon, all versions of Merlin totally useless. Like at least nah, even Summer Freya is still kind of useless because her passive only works in PvP, and at this point she's not relevant.
And as you guys can see, a lot of the characters on the banner, I mean, are characters that we do not need anymore. Or
Yep.
if we do need, they should be given for free.
They do.
Green Thonar is a Hero's Way character. Why is she on the banner, bro?
Yeah, why
Red
is she?
Sigurd was the first Ragnarok character ever released. Bro is like 3 years old. Why is he on the banner?
Yeah.
Kusag is a festival, but he's old. He's super old.
super
My camera's
old.
not focusing now. He's super.
Oh yeah, true. Kusak is super old. He shouldn't be here. Like I understand Margaret because of the grace, you know, he can come in clutch in certain cases. But Kusak is old.
Super old, and he's not on the banner, bro. Or he's on the banner. He should not be on the banner, right?
Yeah.
It does not make sense. A lot of these things that they do, I don't understand this, man. I don't understand this. A lot of this should be completely changed, especially if it's a UR Festival banner.
Yep.
It's a UR Festival, guys. A UR Fest. They even said when they announced UR Fest, this was gonna be a more hype release, and they spam UR Fest, man. So I don't know, man. I feel like that's something that definitely does need to be changed. And
I wonder if they actually changed. What's the current? Right now they have a collab. Like for example, well, at least it's a collab, so it obviously the banner is gonna be poggers. You know, it's gonna be good. But here's like yeah, obviously collab units always feature right, and Red Tarmiel, I feel like I do understand right. Like I do understand, especially for newer players, right? Newer players, I feel like honestly this was kind of good. The only useless one being here, Green Ludociel. Green Green Ludociel, he's useless. You don't use him anywhere, and sure, his grace could be useful, but he's such an old unit that at this point everyone at least has him 1 out of 6, and the other units, what's it called? And you can get him on the SSR tickets. Now for Red Tarmiel, it's understandable, you know. He's still the most OP link ever. Green Serial, I guess he's kind of good with his massive debuff, constant spamming. And Green Nanashi, honestly, he's such an old unit. You can get him on SSR tickets, and yeah, and yes, sure, he has a broken holy relic, but he massively boosts the unknown team. This banner does not rely on the unknown team, unless and again, even if they buffed Echidna, Reinhardt, and all and Rem and Ram, here's the thing: like, what would be the unknown team? Like, if you try to use her, kind of annoying, I guess, but I don't think she was buffed at all. Echidna, I guess, did she get buffed? I don't even know. But you could have like, sure, Echidna, Ram, and then Nanashi in the background. Sure, you could have that. But the meta does not really. The meta uses these three, and these three completely eviscerate all of these. So, so again, it's not really worth. It's not really worth having Nanashi here. The collab units are literally just for collection's sake. Completely understandable. For Nanashi's so old, so yeah. But this DN, however, I do see why she's valuable, because a she's really good for the original demon fight. She's still really good. She completely massively allows for cheesing, and I guess she is and I guess she does allow for she upgrades on the for the Bell mod and for the Grey Demon. She upgrades the cards to level 2, so that would be that's also nice. But I think she's already given away for free, I believe. So yeah, I would exchange Ludociel for someone else. To be honest, I would like maybe Gojo Bon instead. Like he's still relevant. He's a good unit, and or Blue. No, Gojo Con just completely tops. Have some sort of seasonals. But hey, you have the Cold Labs, and you do have Tarmialink, and you have this Red DN. But yeah, it's not as bad, because collabs are bound to have the most hype stuff, so it makes sense.
And if that's not going to be a thing that changes, then banners in general are never going to feel good, like good anymore, right?
Yeah.
And festival banners, they're festival banners. They need to feel good, right? They need to feel
they need to feel good. They need to feel good. Like, especially when we're talking about like new players. Sure, to them there's new players are gonna feel like the most thrill out of this, because it's newer characters they've never seen before. But for old players and returning players that have been here long term, some of these characters we already have 6/6. Now, sure, we could use them on the shop and right now their biggest use, in my opinion, would be to save them so that we can get the 10 Commandments or the 7 Deadly Sins characters, so that we can, I guess, max out our dupes of those characters. And if we don't have them, and if we already have all of them maxed out, SSR tickets, hoping for new characters to max out some of the other characters. And if even that is not the case, then we just gonna get them for the SSR pendants, because what else can you do?
They have really good, really good rates. They're festival banners, man. I don't understand that. Okay, a lot of this other stuff I feel like is just kind of nitpicky, guys. I'll be honest. Full SA token. Why not give it in events? Right, I think that'd be really cool.
At this point, it should be, bro. 7 years. Like, imagine Netmarble. Imagine just how good it would be for the 7th anniversary festival. You introduce some of the most quality of life updates possible. Like, please, you still have June. You still have June. Obviously, this will make the game super. Like, it will be more easier, but it will pull in some players as well, some new players, and again, some of them might even feel enticed to spend a little bit of money, especially with certain cosmetics. If you have cosmetics, sexy outfits, schoolgirl outfits. I mean, what else? People will spend money. They will, like, for cosmetics. Definitely, hell yeah, like 100%. So you could definitely like bring some of the newest updates, especially when we're having we're gonna have summer before earlier, right? The summer banner earlier, and then we're gonna have the 7th anniversary, right? So please, Netmarble, I'm gonna upload this on YouTube, and I'm also gonna upload this on the thing. It's gonna be super long, but it's gonna be like for any Grand Cross player, and for the Marvel developers in general. Like, this is gonna be like, I am saying this out of the love I have for Grand Cross and out of the admiration I have for Netmarble, because I really like Origins. I have yet to complete I have yet to complete chapter 1. but yeah, like, that's how good it is.
Farming SA coins I thought was something that could be a thing, but I get it if they don't want to do it. It definitely is like tied already to summon, so I feel like they couldn't. But at least this, man, give full SA Awakening tokens in events, right? Imagine a full Awakening token, but for Super Awakening. That would be crazy.
That would be super crazy. Please add this, or if not, at the very least, just make it so that farming at Super Awakening coins just there. Just spend your stamina and boom. That's it.
Easy. Everyone's there, right? Geared PvP needs a reason to be done other than for artifact cards. Yes, if I grind out all the artifact cards, what am I doing geared PvP for? And who plays geared PvP? Other than a YouTuber. Who
True. Gear PvP, like, honestly, in Gear PvP, even Nagato brought this up, but in Gear PvP, you used to get the basic cosmetics, that used to be big back in the day. And it still is, just for collection's sake. But nowadays, for Gear PvP, you have like these other characters that are for certain artifact cards, and also the units that are just for collection's sake. That's the only other reason. And I think that for Gear PvP rewards, you should have SSR pendants as well, and Super Awakening coins as well. Keep having them there, because they are just massively needed. You just need them so much.
actually plays geared PvP and needs to do it? Nobody. That's what we've gotten at this point. And so geared PvP needs to have a reason to actually do it. Just put gems in there. It doesn't have to be as much as ungeared, because I get ungeared as like the main PvP section people gotta grind for. But have geared PvP maybe give 10 gems for being in champion, right? You could do, or maybe they could do 10 gems masters, right? You get 20 gems champion, 30 gems challenger. Why not, right? Just incentivize players to get to that point to be able to get these rewards, right?
Yeah.
And, that would just be a nice way to kind of incentivize players. Even changing up the exchange shop. I know the exchange shop on the game, here I'll show you guys, is like really, really terrible actually. Because if you actually go to the exchange shop here, man, you'll see that all the stuff is overpriced like crazy and is never worth buying. Nothing in the shop is worth buying but the cards. Like, that's literally it, man. Like, let's go to the cards here, guys, and let's actually show you the prices. Right, so the cards themselves are 10k. I think that's fine because, you're going to be grinding out PvP to get these anyway.
Yeah, makes sense that they're 10k, right? The artifact cards. But the Super Awakening ones, please, just make them a bit more cheaper. Like 500. How about 500, right? That's plenty of enough, right? Especially given, like, how it's, on average, you can only get, like, 20 once. 20 per thing. Making it so that it's more higher than that, and also have include SSR pendants, but make them accessible as well.
Wait, but why is one SA coin?
It's just
one.
One
SA coin is 50.
One. At least one for 500. Just make it 10. A batch of 10. 10 Super Awakening coins for 1,500. That would be greatest deal.
1,500. That is not good. 45,000 coins for 30. Like, that is a joke, man. That's actually a joke. You know how much you grind for 45,000 coins? For 30 SA coins? Half a unit? Half a unit SA6? Bro, you know how much I get? I'm in a Platinum 1 right now. I get 500.
Oh
That's
my
how you know
God.
I don't play this anymore, because I'm in Platinum 1. Oh my God, man.
Damn.
Another reason why, guys. And as I mentioned, like, geared PvP needs to be changed, man. What else do we got here? Let's see. Put more featured UR Fest on UR Festival banners, please. Yes. Why does UR Fest not have another featured UR Fest? If I'm summoning on a UR Festival, can another UR Fest be on the banner to incentivize me to summon, bro? Where?
I feel like they kind of fixed that, to be honest, with Escanor and Merlin duo. They did. If I remember correctly, and I hopefully I can pull up the banner list. Like, again, like, obviously this video was done by Amazing in 2024. It's gonna have some takes and complaints that were probably already addressed and fixed by Netmarble. Very, very good. Is this the banner? Yeah. I guess he was just there. I surprisingly did not get him at all. Oh, he's the new hero. Oh yeah, it's because I got the other one. The one that's like for returning players only. But yeah, I got the basic vanilla armor banner. Like these characters. And I did not get so lucky as having Hell or some of these other ones. But adding these UR characters was the best thing. Because from here, by getting the free and also putting my gems here, I got Thor, Demon King Melee, Chaos Arthur, and the Demon King. Basically, I would just need Festival Gutter to be have all the UR level characters. But this was the best choice ever, to include the UR level characters. And any other character, upon achieving having any of these characters be immediately level 100, and fully awaken. That was the best thing ever. Obviously, because I already have most of my characters be 100. Merlin, I already had her, and well, she's a. I don't think I had any of my other units, but I think out of these ones, the ones that I got like that would actually got maxed out was, I believe, probably this Merlin, but I don't even know. No, I got this Summer Freya. I remember Summer Freya, Ragnarok or Winter. No, Halloween Merlin. This a lot. This Camilla. But this was in general a good roster. This is how it should be every single festival, every single every single UR festival, every single normal festival. This is how it should be. Have good units. Because at this point, this guy useless. This guy useless. This guy useless. This guy is good for PvE. Still good. I use him for bird and for original demon. Her, she's useless. She's good for I guess she's useful for the gray demon, but why use her when you can use this duo that one shots? But you can change between the two. She's useless. Oh yeah, I also got her. I also got her. I feel like she's kind of useless. I did not get her, but oh yeah, and Margaret. The only useful thing about her is just her holy relic. I mean, no, her link. And if she's LR, I guess it's another good unit to have. LR. But yeah. Oh, and did I also get this summer? Yeah, I think I also got this one, the summer Margaret, which is good for the serpent. But yeah, this is good. This is how it should be every single banner from now onwards for festivals.
Where is DK Melly on Thor's banner? DK Melly is 6-7 months old now. Bro is like kind of getting old. I mean, he's not actually old, but like he's the oldest UR festival we have in the game and is not on banners. The only one he reran on was Askenor's. Right? Why is it only Askenor's banner? Make Thor's banner at least exciting. Put DK Melly on it. I don't understand that. Dark and Light Festivals Indie Coin Shop. Yes, bro. Why are Dark and Lights not in the coin shop already? Like, these are over almost 3 years old characters, guys.
Oh my god.
Trader Melly's 3 years old. Bro's not.
He's still not there. Yeah, like at the very least, add Dark and Light characters. And even then, like, I might even be bold to say this, but if you should also have it so that every single dark unit, with the exception of collabs, but every single dark unit and light unit, even if they're not festivals, they should be capable of being summoned upon. Even Tristan, who's both dark and light, they should be, so that people can instead, use the coins, and instead of going for if they already have all of these maxed out, go for any of the duos that are basic SSR, go for Tristan. Like, make it so that you also have interesting characters, right? Characters that would be good to have, because if you already have all of these maxed out, it's like, and also for these older units, make it so that it's just one festival coin in exchange, because they're already old. But for the newer batch of the festivals or light and dark units, make it so that it's 3 at the very least, right? That would be fair.
Not even here. Oh my god, man. How is Trader Melly not in this spot? I get he's a viable character now, right? Because of his Holy Relic. Obviously, that was a major upgrade. But even like Light Liz, bro. Where is Light Liz? Where is Light Elizabeth? She's a light attribute character that is not really that good anymore. Why can't people get her from the coin shop? Why not? I don't understand it. The devs don't want to put the light and dark units for whatever reason. And honestly, at this point, the light and dark units are really, really old and deserve to be in the coin shop. Players can actually fill out their box by getting those characters too, and they still have their uses. Right? Like, Trader Melly nowadays is still viable on floor 4 bird. He's still a viable character. Light Liz is really good, right? Light Liz had her place. It can be used still in like guild boss and stuff. You don't have LR Liz, right? There's options. Who else? Demon King, right? Demon King. Like, he's still like I'm about to say over a year old now. But yeah, I mean, why not, right? Demon King, right? Who else is a Dark and Light? I guess we could just filter to the Dark and Light. Hell, Purgatory Melly, bro. Bro's 2 years old. It's insane, guys. It's insane. Ultimate Escanor! Transit Demon I can understand, maybe. And Mael I can understand. But Ultimate Escanor? Bro's old. Why is Ultimate
Yeah,
Escanor not in the coin shop at least? Ultimate Escanor, Light Liz, and Trader Melly have no excuse, and Perg Melly have no excuse for not being in the coin shop already.
yeah,
I don't understand it. I do not understand it. Okay, let me switch back over again. Yeah, and then Hourglasses in Training Dungeon, stamina should be one every week for both. Yes, because in the game right now, what do we get? What do we
once
get in the
every
game right
two
now,
weeks.
guys? We get one or the other. We get a Hourglass.
Yeah, I actually have I received one earlier this week? I don't know, but I think it should be at least once a week. Like that's the thing. That's the way to farm the Super Awakening coins. And so, okay, so if it's once a week farming, I think I can get past that. But the units are so demanding. Please keep them coming, or make it so that we can just infinitely farm them. Just have no keys, no nothing. Same thing with the SSR pendants. SSR pendants, Super Awakening coins. They should not need these special keys. They shouldn't. With so many units in the game now, we should just be able to use our stamina and infinitely farm them. Because at this point, literally, as a late game and end game player, what am I missing? Is just super awakening my characters and getting SR pendants so that I can max out the few new units I have to get them to at least level 90, and then get even more SSR pendants so that I can exchange for UR pendants so that I can get every single level 90 character to UR level, and then legendary evolve the few legendary evolve characters I can, which literally is only Reinhardt, really. Because I don't have the normal legendary seals.
This week. Next week I get the Training Dungeon one. Just give us both. Just give us both, man. I don't see the problem at this point. And especially now, with the way it is right now, with the whole like alleviating the burden, and like that's what the devs are trying to do. Just give us more resources, man. That's part of it. Just give us more resources. Yeah, that is one thing that I did not mention in mine, but where is it? Sora mentioned it in his. The devs said we want to ease the burden on upgrading characters, and then they decided to drop 5 new systems to upgrade characters without making any previous ones easier.
Damn.
That is a joke. That is actually a joke. Why is the previous Awakening system still as hard as they were back then? Those have not changed. If I'm trying to Super Awaken a character, it still costs 60 coins. And they don't give that
Damn.
much more coins than
Yeah.
they do before.
really
They
don't.
have started to give more, right? And I've obviously stockpiled a lot. I'm a whale. I have more than enough. But for a regular player that's still filling out their box, they're not going to have that sorted out,
Yep.
guys. They're just not.
I am suffering because of it.
Okay, they're just not going to have that sorted out. Alright, yeah, I think that's pretty much it though for all the stuff that I wanted to talk about personally, guys. This is like Sora's thing here. A lot of this is very valid points too. I think like the demons need to drop more materials, 100%. Team building needs to be looked at. Instead of just being race teams, we should have characteristic based teams. Yes.
I think they've been doing that actually. No, they haven't. Yeah, it should be more characteristic based teams. Like, you do have the Ragnarok team, but they're already falling off, and they're only useful for the demonic beasts for holy relics. But yeah, there should be like the Sins team. They were pretty strong as well. That should be brought back, But again, with the if like they should be exclusively for the Sins, like more characteristic based teams, so that way people can wait for the next 7 deadly sins, and essentially like summon for them. Like, yeah, like so that way like free to play players and the dolphins and any new player can essentially know what to expect and where to summon. Actually, investing any unit that 7 deadly sins that gets released, get them, boom, get your gems. And on collapse, Ragnarok, Catastrophe, Sacrifice, ignore them unless they are absolutely good units to have for the whole game in general. So that way you can get stuff, right, and also getting like 4 Nights of Apocalypse stuff or new kind of demon stuff. You can completely ignore them if they're not your team, right? 4 Nights of Apocalypse would just again be good for in general, I guess.
Even teams that aren't even based around a characteristic at all. Like if, as I mentioned the team a lot in this video. But Blue Lilia, Demon Melly, and Rugal or Green Escanor, that was a team that was not a race team or a characteristic team. It's just a team that worked around the characters in their passive. Why can't we have that anymore in the game?
Oh wait, characteristics. As in like, oh, as in as in speed. Oh, my bad, my bad. Like as in speed. Wait, I'm gonna look at my phone actually. Are those characteristics or no? Yeah, those are characteristics. The attributes is probably what you mean. You know, with like blue melee and everything, right? But yeah, like you should be like, it should be characteristics. Either way, you know, more attribute type of characters, more characteristic type of characters, rather than just being pure exclusively on race.
New modes, right? The Commandments Archangel mode. That event has not come back, and it was actually a cool event.
What?
Actually, it was a cool event. Where is that event?
I've missed out on that one. That would have been cool. Like commandments, you can literally use the festival Estarossa. You can even bring back some of the all other older commandments, and then with the archangels ones as well. You know, use the new archangels and use Mael. You know, like the new Mael. The new Mael will actually be on the commandment side. So yeah, like that's something.
Right? What else do we have here? A lot of this is like kind of like, you know, stuff I mentioned in mine as well, guys. But yeah, man, that I guess that's pretty much it. 33 minutes. You guys have heard me ramble on long enough, I feel like, at this point.
Yeah.
But hopefully you guys understand my points and what I had to say in this video, man. Let me know in the comment section below. Again, guys, like, I want to hear your opinions on this. How do you guys feel as a player playing Grand Cross? If you're a new player,
I am a returning player, and I'm having so much hard time, like complaining, like literally, like here's what I've been doing so far, ever since I returned, after like you know spending a bit of money here and there for like you know the collabs and everything. What I've literally been doing so far is literally maxing out the affinity for my characters, and now I'm trying to max out the hearts. But whilst doing that, I'm also trying to farm as much HP gear as possible so that I can put it on my other many units that don't have the HP SSR gear. And then I also have to farm the defense gear as well. And after that, once everyone has that, I'm going to actually start just farming gold. Yeah, I guess gold, I guess, and doing a bunch of other stuff like whenever I can, or whenever the game allows me to, like the SSR pendants, the Super Awakening coins. Like these are things that again, you know, I would have to wait weekly, I guess.
give me your experience. If you're a long time player, give me your experience as well. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Let's have a dialogue in the comments. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. And Grand Cross content is still gonna be on the channel, guys. I'm not quitting the game or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. This is to, you know, have the devs have ideas, give them things for them to change, and so when we get other updates later in the year, hopefully we do get some of these things, and it is a little bit better, man. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Hope you guys did enjoy, and we'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace out. Have a good rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.
So yeah, I agree with pretty much everything he said, and obviously I had to bring up some new things because, you know, some things that, like new features, you know, like that I personally believe would be really great to have, you know, like have SSR, like have like the concept of simultaneous clear with death matches, have that available, but for every single mode. And just literally take our stamina, let me play the thing once, and I'm done with it, and I got all of the farming material as if I did the level like 100 times, when I only did it once. Take my stamina in exchange of that, and I get all of that, you know. Have that sort of, you know, simultaneous clear available, you know, for every single game mode. So, I guess, and this might be a bit of a rage bait for people, because like, oh my god, this guy jabbed for 2 hours or longer, or about an hour jabbing, and listen to someone else jabbed. So yeah, like this is a japper reacting to a japper. But we're both 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross players. He's a content creator that focuses on that. I'm a content creator that focuses on, well, anything in general, to be honest. It's reaction content. I do want to do more gaming, but this is as a gamer, so this is more passionate. Like, I'm not doing this because I have to. I'm doing this because I want to. So hopefully, here's the thing that you have. Like, too long, too long didn't watch. Too long didn't watch. These are like what I would consider most importantly the most biggest quality of life improvements that Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross could have at the moment. So yeah, this is it. This is what I think should be added. This is what I think would massively improve Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross and yeah, make it so that everyone is much happier and endgame gets more smooth and efficient. Now that would be it for today. Go like Amazing's video, check out his channel, and then subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like my video, and comment down below what you think about Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross. Comment if you want me to give some sort of tips or anything. Make a video about Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross. Like, just comment down below. What do you think? What do you want me to see? What do you want? What do you want to see about Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross? And I'll try to make a video about it. So yeah, other than that, like, check out my other videos, reactions, stuff like that, and I'll see you the next time. Bye bye. Oh my god, 5 hours. That's crazy.